I'll just
Okay.
click on that. That's okay. Anyway. Howdy.
Howdy. So, I just realized that we actually need sheep. There's sheep around here, I think.
You don't happen to have rockets, do you?
I do.
Yay! Okay, I can help you out with that one. I actually happen to have like 60 iron on me, so I can make some shears. Okay.
Here you go.
Thank you. Okay, let's go, let's go. Oh my gosh. It is so nice. I found some sheep.
Why are they on the side of the mountain?
They're like those goats, dude. You know those
Wait, okay,
goats?
okay. We need to get wheat so we can like lure them. You know?
Yeah.
So we can make like a little farm.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. This sounds like great. Your priorities are very straight.
Well, we need to. Etherine.
Yeah.
See, we're testing a mod about beds.
Okay, okay.
So we need wool.
Okay, here, let's
From
okay,
sheep.
okay, hear me out. Okay, wait. Okay. You don't happen to have one pink or one white wool on you by chance? And 3 planks
Nope.
of it. Okay.
I got the planks.
Okay, okay. I just need to get one more wool. Okay. Or I can just take that bed that happens to be lying there so conveniently. Okay. Oh, I don't have enough space in my inventory. Don't mind me.
You good, bro?
Yeah.
There's so much happening over here. Did you get it?
Yeah, I got it. Okay. I'm sleeping because you can't.
Great.
Oh my god!
That's crazy.
Mac! Actually, wait, let's move to... Wait. Do you wanna move?
I'm good with whatever, bro.
Okay. Mac! Hi. We're on the Goofy. And my frames are framesings right now. Okay. Okay, so we need to get wheat.
Yes, we do need wheat.
I just so
Okay.
happen to know a place with wheat.
Oh?
It's Cumville.
Oh.
Believe it or not.
Okay. You know what? Sure. We're going on an adventure.
Adventure time. Come on, grab your friends.
We'll grab your friends.
Oh my god.
Macabrebard.
Hello, gamer.
Hello, gamer and chat. Hello, chat and gamer.
Hello. Amen, man.
Amen.
Amen, man. Yeah.
Amen, man. This is awesome.
Yippee.
Alright, I'm gonna catch up to you on a boat.
I know. Are you?
I am. Surely.
I don't know, man. I had a pretty big head start.
You did.
It's so nice having an elytra. Are you eating
Oh, I
chip?
am catching up to you.
Oh no.
Chipkin sandwich.
Chimpkin.
Sandwich.
I win.
Shut up. I still got here faster, it's just that, you know, it doesn't lead directly to the portal.
Everything here has just been left unattended for so long.
I know, bro.
It's so sad.
Well, I mean, we're gonna be back.
Yeah, soon. That'll be exciting. Oh my gosh, Mac. Okay, I don't have water, but I do have tea. So here's my tea.
Was spilling the tea. Oh my god, PC Spectre
Me.
game.
Oh my god! Oh my god, this is wonderful. Welcome back. Oh my god. I don't know why I said welcome back, because you thought, hey! I gotta play with Macabrebard. Oh my god.
It's been actual years.
Hi, Smuggery. Hi.
Oh my god, Smittery Ploop. It's like I was just in call with you. Oh my god.
Hi, Smuggery. Welcome to stream. How are you, Smuggery Plot?
I am such a big Smothery fan.
Do you know
this
way?
is so awesome.
Macabrebard. Good. I'm so happy. I'm so glad that you're doing good. This dude. Okay, whatever.
I'm silly.
He's goofy.
Yep.
That's the name of the server.
It sure is. Oh my god.
Trust.
Okay. Hey, Bit Shady Shade. Welcome to stream.
Oh my god, I'm such a big Bit Shady
Hello,
Shade fan.
Bit Shady Shade. I am such a big Bit Shady Shade fan. This is so real. Man, you know what I hate the most? Vehicular manslaughter, and I don't see this happening anytime soon. I just realized I was on the wrong path, and I thought you guys were gonna hit me with the bow.
I was sitting there like, is there something this guy's trying to
What is this guy talking about?
I saw you guys on the boat in the ice, but I was on the other one.
Oh my god,
It's him! Oh my
Good
gosh!
heavens, I have arrived.
Dude, we're matching. We have the same pants.
Oh my god, yippee!
This is huge.
So about manslaughter. Anyway.
Why are we here? I'm stupid. We need to go back to Japan.
See, this is why when you say just trust me, I'm not trusting you ever again.
Well, you see, I knew that there were sheep there, but then I didn't put 2 and 2 together and realized that we need sheep in Japan.
That's okay, gamer. We're gonna. Oh wait. Ah!
I mean, he
Okay.
can't fit in the boat. I don't know what you want.
Okay, I'll code it so you can put 3 people in a boat.
Yippee!
New
Put,
challenge.
like stack people.
Yeah. You
Like
can just
on-
have like
on heads.
you know there's like those buses in London.
What?
You know there's buses in
You
London.
mean like double-decker buses?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think-
But
That's
like
not what I was referring to, but okay. Oh my god, he fly.
This is so awesome.
We'll get there eventually, chat.
What the
Just
fuck?
place a fucking dirt block.
okay, look, if my ping this is
I'm in. Oh shit. Wait, I can still win this.
Mac
Go,
Surely
go,
if I cut
go,
you off.
go.
Yes,
No.
I'm in the lead. No. No.
You have netherite, this sucks.
I win.
God damn it. Okay, time for sheep.
Sheep. Operation Sheep. I hear one. Oh my god, how the hell did you get here?
Oh shit. Hi. Sheep.
Oh, you might need that.
Okay. All right, where are we building this sheep house farm plot smothery plot thing?
Smothery plot thing. Oh my god, I'm clipping that. I clipped that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a
so
crazy
funny.
idea. Wait, what is my clip button? Uh-oh.
Where's my? Where did I die?
It's over here. It's right here. Over here.
To the left.
Take it back
Well.
now, y'all.
We'll hop this time.
2 options.
Good one, my boy.
Just a
Oh,
full on
yeah.
Legos. What the heck sells? Sorry, someone in my chat just. That's so mean. That's like the meanest thing anyone's ever said in my chat.
Oh shit, wait, yeah. Me when I look over. I'm gonna use this 2 wool to make carpets.
Hooray.
That's what I do. Happy life, and I guess that's okay. As well, you know what? If I'm happy, that's all that matters. All right, let's go. Cells, we're making a what? You need a saddle king? Okay.
Which is crazy, by the way.
Which is crazy, by the way. I have a button on my mouse that can change the song. Hello? Can you play with?
What?
I remember this Play-Doh argument. Oh my god. Zoe, hi, welcome to the stream. Oh my god, how are you going? Dude, wait, what is happening? I don't know. I couldn't tell you if I tried. Okay. Where is your son? My son! Oh wait, I need to show chat my son.
Awesome.
I can't believe I walked
I'll
past
be
him
wrangling
twice.
sheep.
He's a sheep wrangler. Out in the wild, we got our sheep here. And you see, they might look pretty fucking innocent, but they're really not. Snoop.
You're really fucking idiots, mate.
Oh my god. How are you? I'm good. I'm so good. Look at my... Thanks. He's so cute. Snoop. Anyway.
Snoop.
He sniff, he do the thing. You know what, I should take him. I'm gonna let him roam around a little bit. He won't get lost. He'll be fine. We'll come and find him at the end of the stream. He deserves to be free and go and smell all of the grass, don't you? Alright. Nothing bad will happen to Snoop. I trust him. He's old enough to make his own decisions now. So kid, he's just a guy. He's just a guy and you can't put the word little in front of it. Alright.
Oh, perfect.
I got this. Easy.
Oh my god, he's definitely
I'll
a
make
guy.
babies. Awesome. Me when they make babies. Can someone please sleep?
What do I get?
Fuck you. No, because last night I was playing and I was like, hey, Etherai, can you sleep? And she was like, what do I get out of it? And I ended up having to go loot a bastion for a fucking netherite template so that Etherai would sleep.
It was so funny. There's so much wildlife out here.
It's gonna make for a good clip in my video.
Yeah, because there was a piglin wearing... Okay.
There was literally a piglin wearing full netherite armor.
Eat that so mean. What do you mean? Okay, actually, maybe I should just sleep for my sake. Okay, I'm going to sleep. I don't like that. What happened to Mac? Oh. Macabrebard?
He dead. Where'd he go? Is he still in VC?
Mac! Yeah, he is. Mac!
Mac?
Whoa, I left for 2 seconds!
Mac! 44 deaths.
Oh my god, to
Whoa.
a zombie. This sucks. Holy mo! Oh my god.
It's okay, King. It was actually pretty funny. I was just saying, what happened to Mac? And then it said Macabrebard got killed, slain by zombie. It was pretty funny.
Oh my
A
god.
little silly, if you will.
Just a little bit.
Some would say even a bit goofy.
Holy shit. It's like a reference.
Almost,
oh my God,
almost
there's another
there.
ship here.
Oh, there's
Wait.
other eye.
Where is he? Oh, there he.
No, my 14 levels.
When level. Okay. Oh, we're gonna need to get dyes as well, won't we?
Yeah.
Okay, what do we... Oh, we've got yellow dyes.
What is it that
Me.
we're doing?
Oh yeah. We should probably fill in Mac.
So I coded a plugin, very special plugin that only affects one person on this server, as per Lucas's request, in regards to,
It's the thing.
It is the thing, and so yeah. We're
This is so
testing it.
hype.
We're doing some testing, but we need some dyes to test a couple other things.
What colors are needed?
We need yellow, which we have, and we need red and light blue.
Red and light blue. I'll go look for light blue.
I'll look for red. I found red.
Well,
Nice.
Wait, what makes light blue again?
white and blue.
I found blue.
I have white dye at my house. I can go get that.
I found... Wait, do these make white or light grey? No, they make light grey. Okay.
No.
No,
wait,
oh
there's
yeah, you
some
need
corn
bones, don't you?
There's blue dye. Okay. And now it's just a quick trip up to the Dojo Mojo Casa house.
You right?
Facts.
Digest. And you said you need light blue?
Yes.
I now have light blue.
Yippee! Okay. I am on my way back.
Hooray!
Alright. Oh, I'm also gonna need to dye the pink sheep white, won't we?
Yeah.
Should I go grab more white dye?
Well, I mean, well, we're gonna use white, or we can just dye the pink sheep like the other colors. It's fine.
Okay. Then in that case, you.
Huge.
And
Make babies.
Make baby.
Sir.
Here's the light
Other
blue.
eye.
yeah.
Away.
What the heck?
Oh, word? Oh my god, leather! I can get more item frames!
Oh my god.
What What the heck, Meg?
I'm just dinner.
Boy dinner.
Boy dinner.
What color wool does this guy have?
You colorblind.
What,
Oh
he's
wait, no,
sheared.
you're looking at the one that's okay. For me, you're just walking into like a red one. Let him eat.
You're okay, Napa. Let him. Any second now. 3, 2, 3, 2, 1. No. How did a donkey get in here?
By being an ass.
Holy shit, I see what you did there.
Yippee!
I'm in.
Holy
It's
shit.
like a
he's in.
reference. I think it was a white sheep. We've only got one pink sheep and that one's a baby, so.
Yeah. Okay, well, okay, so. Chat. We've got our what is it called? The you know in a fucking experiment you have your like test group, control group, that's what it's called.
There it
So
is.
our control group is the white sheep, and then we're gonna test all of the other dyed sheep and compare and contrast. And
Oh my god,
form a
you're so.
hypothesis
took a
and
lot of-
I thought we
conclusion
left high school.
and write a
I thought we left high
3-page essay.
Napa.
Yeah. My god.
What was
You tell him.
Speak your truth, King.
Just want to eat in peace, man.
We just need one more light blue.
Come to me.
I'd rather not.
Okay.
Hypothesis testing, calculate error and standard deviation of the samples here and make an assessment. I hate it here. There's an orange sheep! Oh my god, because the red and yellow...
Oh shit. We're gonna have to correct that.
That was so ominous. You wouldn't... You wouldn't...
They can only be part of the 3 social classes.
Oh my god.
You can't break the mold. You break the mold, I break you.
Oh my god. Okay, Napa. Okay, yeah. I'm glad that guy didn't run for mayor. Alright. Anyway. Okay. I need to cut tree. Or do you happen to have more plank?
I have blank.
Can I have plank? Yippee! Thank you. Oh, okay. That's a lot of plank. Okay, here we go. You're okay, King. Okay, we have our beds. Ever since like he got rejected from art school.
What the fuck?
That wasn't
Like
me.
a
That wasn't me.
reference.
It's Shady Shade. I was a fan, but now I'm a hater.
He evolved.
That's so rude.
What's
I've
all
been
this
enlightened. Holy shit, there's a lot of beds here.
then? Ooh, what's in here?
Rubbish.
Okay.
This is treasure. Whoa, look at this.
Okay. Next thing that we have to do, we have to make a test chamber, okay?
Oh wait, yeah, we have to do the
So-
testing at night, so
Well, we have to make like a test chamber.
hey King.
Huh.
Sorry, continue. You're okay.
Oh.
You're okay.
We're gonna need obsidian, and we're gonna need a
How much
hole.
obsidian?
It's quite an interesting structure you got there. Like I don't know, maybe like a stack or two.
I can help with 31.
That works.
Here I go.
Let's
I
see.
thought he just had it like hidden in like that one little spot in the ground. I was like, fucking like a fucking squirrel or some shit.
Funny you mentioned that.
So, nope. Nope. Wait, you should make a mod where sheep breed super random mobs. That would. Justin! Oh my gosh! Thank you so much for the 10 months. What the hell? Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for. I forgot how to. Thank you. Super grateful. Imagine breeding a creeper by accident. Okay. Yippee! I can go to the. Oh wait, I don't have a diamond pickaxe.
Do you want
Oh
to?
boy.
I have a netherite pickaxe you could borrow.
I can go to the end as emotional support.
Alright.
Okay,
where's?
you guys go to the end. I'm gonna start digging out the little chamber thing.
Okay.
Awesome.
Not like Valorant.
Whoa, reference. Here, do you want, oh my god, you have 2 hearts. Do you want, crypto miner or my bare hands?
Crypto miner.
Okay. Here, let's see.
I love
here you
making artificial money.
go. Hang on. Give me,
What the heck, Justin?
let's see. Oh, I have a wonderful
I'm not
idea.
lonely anymore.
Hang on, I'm just gonna real quick, cause is there a boat over there?
Yes, actually, but I also have one
Wait.
in my inventory.
Oh, never mind. I was just gonna start mining up a bunch of this wood and craft one.
I'm. Okay.
We go.
Yippee! Let's go. Here we go.
God, I'm not lonely anymore.
I
That's
got
so
you, King.
real.
There we go. I got you. I'll code it for you. Easy as pie. Whenever you're sad, SomeNapa will teleport to you and cheer you up.
That's gonna be the mod?
Who designed those roads? I wish I could tell you.
That was Lucas.
Thank you,
Wait,
Lucas.
are we talking about the ice roads?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lucas.
Oh, there's a stack here.
So cool. Dude, Lucas does so much on the server.
Yeah.
Ew,
The
no.
rest of us just, like fuck around and like hang out. Lucas like just logs on for fun and like builds stuff.
Who
for
builds
fun.
for fun in Minecraft? A lot of people, actually, now that I think about it.
I think he just does what regular people do.
Yeah, he's normal. Oh well, he's not normal. Take it back. Oh wait, I don't have a pickaxe.
Yeah, you have one.
Oh, I do have one.
I hope you have it.
I was gonna say, it hasn't been that long.
I have short-term memory loss. I have memory problems.
Do you?
You
Oh
and
my god, you have
remembery.
memory problems? I have memory problems.
Wait, you have memory problems?
I have memory problems.
No way, I have memory problems.
What? You have memory problems? That's crazy. I also have memory problems.
No
That's
way.
wild.
We both have memory problems?
What? You have memory problems? What?
Wait, no way. Memory problems? I have memory problems, bro. I can't
Oh my-
believe
this
we've
is
never talked
crazy.
about this.
I mean, we probably have at some point.
I fucking hate the memory problem loop. I don't know when it's gonna die, bro. We'll probably come up with a date and then forget about it.
Because we have memory problems.
Brad! Oh my god, Chip Boy, welcome to the stream. We are preparing to
I
test the
love
plugin. Whose memory and what's his problem? I don't know, man. If I met him, I can't remember.
I'll get back to you on that when I remember.
How you been, Chip Boy? How's your breading? I love bread.
Bread, hard eyes.
Good, how are you? Good, fantastic. I finished my assignment. That's a whole story of its own, TBH. But I did it, and now I get to play Minecraft with the men. Oh my gosh, what the heck?
How did you do that?
An item in hand? Don't you
I
dare.
did not expect to find that. Bread awooga.
I love when I suggested, what am I doing? SomeNapa to Justin. Justin was like, ew, no. Like, that was his initial, like, response reaction.
That's crazy.
I cannot wait for next year.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Here we go.
By the way, Etherite, do you want better tools?
I mean, if you're offering.
I can help supply.
Really? You can be my dealer? Oh my god, I'm so down.
What?
Oh my god, I can be your arms dealer. This is so
Oh my
awesome.
god, this is this is so awesome. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm super. Yes, please. It would be nice to not have to live on iron. I mean, I technically have a couple things in my ender chest, somewhere in amidst the shulker boxes in there. But anything I'm missing, I'll let you know.
This is awesome.
What I really need is enchants. Yeah, I'm almost halfway through this elytra already, and I only got it like a couple days ago.
Oh, does it have mending or anything
Nah.
on it?
Nah, it's just
Oh my
an
God.
elytra.
I can help with
That's
that.
wild. I'll be taking that off of your hands in a minute here.
What I really want though is my 2 tridents back, dude.
Oh.
Riptide by the Chainsmokers, and the other one whose name I forgot because it's been so long since I lost him.
Rip.
Rip.
Tied.
Good one.
Wait, I see what you did there.
He figured it out.
Yeah, boy. Oh, by the way,
I
how much
figured.
obsidian do you have?
50 plus 64.
Jesus.
enough.
Oh, is it? Okay, let's go back.
I think
Alright.
combined, you guys have plenty.
Okay, watch me land this. Ready?
Please don't die, okay?
I did it. Oh my gosh! Oh wait, Mac, where's your respawn point?
Bridget's house.
Which one?
Nice.
Oh wait, I haven't seen Bridget's new house yet. I have to see it. Oh my god, where is it? It looks so cool on Twitter.
It's a work in progress.
I don't care. It's better than any work in progress that I've got progressing right now. Where is?
Consider this progress worked. Oh yeah, right
What?
over there.
This one? Wait, I feel like I've seen this before.
Waiting for stream to catch up. Yeah,
it's
that
one.
one.
Both me and Mac did the same thing. That's crazy.
Nepa, where did you go, my boy?
Okay, so go down to where the sheep
Wow.
are.
I am at sheep.
Aki.
What? Okay.
One second. One second.
One.
Is he gonna?
Why did you punch me? Now I can't. Now I can't look in the right direction. Well.
Okay. I was gonna put a beacon down. Let's see.
Hooray, beacon.
Bacon.
Like bacon. Yeah.
Oh my god! Same brain cell, bro.
Hang on. There we go, problem solved. Oh wait, hang on. There we go, problem solved.
Yippee.
Oh wait, hang on. Alright, problem solved.
Thanks, Mac.
Bro. Oh wait, hang on. Problem solved.
Oh wait, I have a better pick. Well, I have someone else's better pick.
Were you using your iron one?
Yeah. No. I don't know what makes you think that. Anyway. I hear spider. But. We don't talk about that.
I don't have a shovel. Whoops.
We should
Go.
probably, yeah.
There we go. There we go.
Holy moly, it just got infinitely better.
It did?
Oh wait.
You don't
Oh,
have
that pickaxe has
efficiency
you.
five, That's crazy.
Yo, that's a little bit silly.
So I was thinking, we got a silly little,
Oh my god, it did get better. So, anyway, sorry.
a silly little room, maybe like somewhere.
That's so real.
Mm-hmm. And?
Like, let's put it over here.
Okay. Oh my gosh. I'm helping.
I'm helping.
I'm helping. Oh, I found the spider noises.
Oh?
Oh?
Maybe we don't go that far. Maybe
Wait, what's over there?
maybe we this is where we go. Maybe this is as far as
Wait,
we
where? What happened? Where is it?
Maybe we
I wanna
stop
know.
trying to explore. Maybe
But I
as
wanna
they say,
know.
curiosity killed the cat, and in this case killed the
I'm a.
Napa.
Oh. shit.
Okay. Alright.
Okay.
Hi, Atty. Hey, what's up? Oh my gosh, how are you? The little Espion. We're just preparing to test this mod that I made. We're gonna see if it works and shit.
You're using your spoon, I'm using my fork.
Yep. That's crazy. Okay.
I'm using a.
No! No, Other Eye!
Yeah.
That'll be fine.
There we go. Up you go.
Uppies.
Can't sleep. Okay. When I can't sleep, I also give up and no, I don't. I lie in bed.
Why is there fucking iron bars here, bro?
You have been locked in.
I mean, when I'm playing Valorant and I log in. Okay, how much obsidian did we end up getting?
64 plus 52 plus.
Wait, hang on. Stay right there. There you go.
64 times 3 plus 20. I don't know the maths. So that's gotta be
Awesome.
at least 12.
I think you're right. Surely,
do you guys have any
you think
food
that's
by
enough?
any chance?
I think that's enough.
Oh, that's definitely enough.
Okay. Yes, I do. Let me.
Hooray.
Here, you can have that.
Yeah,
I'm
boy.
gonna just
I
get
love
another
handouts.
stack of baked potatoes.
Yeah, boy.
Eat.
Okay.
Should we start?
So now we need to build the obsidian room.
Hooray.
Oh, I'll take that. How big should we make this? Like,
Other Eye, maybe maybe not the entire room is getting encased in obsidian.
Oh, okay.
I think it's over here.
What does your mod do? We're gonna find out. I'm so excited.
I'm excited, bro, and I'm gonna die.
So Napa's our little test guinea pig.
This is so exciting.
Okay, so how big is this? Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so if we go like this, and if we go like that, and then we go. There we go.
I've placed my 10. I've contributed.
This is awesome.
Oh my god, thank you. I can contribute a little bit more.
This is awesome. Something tells me we might need more.
Call it a hunch. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna go for a walk and get some water. I'll be back. Chat, keep an eye on these two.
Let me open the chat, see what's going on. Chat. Thoughts on Bruh.
This man's spitting.
You know what I'm saying?
Chat, do y'all think?
Chat, when was the last time you thought?
Any thinkers in chat?
Any thinkers? I never. Yeah, that fits Smithery plot. Mac, I think we're gonna have to go back to the end.
I'm already going.
We ran out.
I can.
Slowly blinks. Just yesterday I did. You know what? And I'm proud of you for that. Wait, is Etherai back? Or is Etherai... Etherai, are you back?
No.
Okay. I was entertaining your chat, hopefully, maybe.
Chat, were you thoroughly entertained?
In the chat, we asked them if they thought.
Oh wait, I needed. Here's my water bottle.
Yippee!
Water.
Sorry. Water.
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 Water. Wait. I am on my way, Mac. Yippee. I'm out of rockets, so I'll be a minute.
I am also out of rockets.
Guys, I have rockets. Where are you guys?
At the end.
I saw your name tag. Howdy.
Oh, hi.
Hey, can I have a donation, please? Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm so
You're
glad
welcome.
that you love charity.
You know me.
I'm on my way.
Where's my boat? Oh wait.
Yo mama's house.
Macabrebard has it.
Yo mama's house.
Nice.
Thanks.
I fully saw that.
No, you didn't.
I was in F5 and I saw you land and then fall.
I hate charity. Okay, Atty, I don't really. Yo. I may be tiny
Man's
alone,
on
but
my
won't
balls.
stop until I'm on my way.
Less than 3.
Thank
I'm on
you
my
so
way.
much, OK Bits, for the 100 bits. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Is that why your is that why your name is OK
It's
Bits?
like the name!
It's like the name! Oh my gosh! That's
Holy shit.
Thank you so much for the bits. I hope you have an absolutely beautiful day. Seriously. My stomach grumble, I'll still make it to my gumble. Oh my god, it's the song! I don't know the tune to the song, I'm sorry. I'm uneducated.
There's so many boats here, oh my gosh.
I'm taking this one. Doink.
Yoink.
Doink.
Yoink.
Doink.
Oh, I can tell you guys just went through the portal.
Okay.
Because I rubber banded a block.
Yo. And now, wait, hold on. I want to go towards where the beacon is.
Oh, that's actually a
Etherai
really
has
good
the right idea.
Wait, there's a beacon over there?
Yeah, there's a beacon.
This whole time?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe
Oh
that's why
my
I had
You
like
guys
double.
not near the beacon before?
I didn't know there was a beacon here.
Oh my god. Etherai.
Dude.
What?
Weren't you here before?
Well, I thought everyone knew there was a beacon here.
Oh my goodness.
I just went to the nearest pillar and started mining. This is so much better. What the fuck?
This is way better.
I'm so hungry right now.
I mined 2 blocks over there. I was like, this is fucking slow.
Yeah, and I did that for a stack and a half.
I'm so sorry, King. Eat something. make
Oh, that's so good.
make some thing.
Waffles.
True. I
Bacon
love waffle.
pancakes.
Making pancakes. I get some bacon and I put it in a pancake. Making
Waffles
pancakes.
or pancakes?
Both
Waffles
at
or pancakes,
once.
guys? Okay, but if you had to choose.
Waffles.
I had to choose.
You have to choose. It's the same batter.
Okay, hear me out.
Handfuls.
I'm hearing
Waff cakes.
waff cakes.
1 minute, chat.
1, 2,
Minutes.
3,
What the heck?
4.
My stream's
5.
being silly. That is not what I want. What the heck? Okay. Okay, let's just do this. Who care? Okay, so heads is pancakes and tails is waffle. Oh my gosh. My stream hates me. What did I do?
What happened?
I don't know, man. But okay, we're gonna flip again. Ready? Heads waffle, tail pancake. Ready? Waffle.
Let's go.
That's how I make my decisions. That's how I answer the tough questions in life.
Bro goes on Google and types in coin flip.
Yo.
And assigns
Man, that's a
life
really
decisions
good
to that.
question. Hey Siri, flip a coin.
Like making life decisions, like what's a big life decision?
What? No, that's more than 2 choices.
What is the meaning of life? Heads or tails?
Will I pay my car payment on time? Hey Siri, flip a coin. Heads for yes, tails for no.
Imagine someone
Oh.
proposes to you and then you pull out a coin.
Oh my! like, oh my God! Will you marry me? And then
Wait,
they're
wait a
like,
minute,
hold
wait,
on a
hold
moment.
up,
Let
hold
me
up.
pull my
Never
phone out.
fails.
Does anyone
Tails
here
never
have a
fail.
coin?
Heads we get married. Tails you fail.
Should I
We
buy a
leave it
hut,
to
puppy, or a
Lady Luck.
10% deposit for a house? Yo, Siri.
Yo Siri, dude. At that point, Siri's like your fucking bitch, bro.
Oh my God. Siri proposes to you. Wait, Siri, I have a question.
Wait, Siri, I have a question. Heads or tails? Dude, that's crazy.
That's fucking hilarious. Guys, would you get married to Siri?
No.
No.
Hey, Siri.
Yeah.
Yo, what's good?
Can
Hey,
I help
Siri.
you?
Can you flip a coin for me? Just real quick. I've got a tough
Just real
decision to
quick.
make. Lemon? I didn't know that was a thing. Huh? No, I'm not that chronically online. I'm so I've lost the chat. Sprinkles and sugar. Oh, you mean lemon and sugar pancakes? There's this ghost. Have you? Wait, what? Wait, wait, Napa. Have you guys? Wait, lemon and sugar pancakes.
Wait.
Is that an Oz? There's no way. Lemon and sugar pancakes.
I have never had that.
Never had it.
You don't. Okay, I'm about to change your lives. Next time you make pancakes at home, what you do is you get a raw lemon and you cut it in half. You sprinkle some sugar on top and then you squeeze some lemon over that, and then you eat it. And it's the best pancake you'll ever eat in your life. It's the best I think it's English. It might be. I don't remember where we learned it from. Probably it's an English thing. Yeah, we definitely learned that from our nan or something. But it's so good. It's so good. You guys gotta try it.
I gotta get on this.
It's so good.
I don't know what I'm gonna be making pancakes next, but hopefully I remember.
Crazy idea. This silly convention that we're all interested
Holy
in.
shit.
I'll make pancakes for you guys.
Yippee!
I can't cook, but I would love to help.
Okay, I have 2 stacks and 43.
I'm at 3 stacks.
Okay,
I'm
in
at
close order, other
two.
one
I'm
has-
at 1.5 stacks, guys. This
I think we're
pickaxe is
good.
not. Yeah, yeah. This should be fine. All right, guys. You ready, chat? I'm gonna watch this. Ready?
Oh, Ellery. Ellery.
Oh boy.
I am the farthest I could be.
I'm back.
I was
Oh,
gonna say, I am also very far.
welcome back. To be fair,
Um,
the water clicked on the client side. Just the server side, it didn't register.
Holy moly, here I go.
It's pretty embarrassing. What do you mean? I clutched that up. I don't know what you're
Nice
talking
clutch
about.
other way.
Yeah, thanks. I'm so good at this game. You
Hope
know,
you're proud of
all I'm
that
saying
one.
is if the server was not in hard mode, I would have clutched that real
Fall
easy.
damage doesn't change
I
between
was gonna say.
Oh my god, he's here!
Oh yeah. Get in.
Get in, loser. We're going shopping.
Why'd you say that in American?
Ah.
Because you okay, King?
I just do a
What did I say, man? You clutched the IRL? You know it. You clutched IRL, but in game you failed. Yeah. Yeah, that's what happened. We're almost there.
Oh yeah. Wow. Oh, what?
Okay. I get thing. I love how these side quests have been side questing.
Consider this quest sided.
You right. Where did this fucking skeleton go, bro?
My things. I'm so glad that Enderman cannot put on armor.
That's what I'm saying.
I should put my valuables in a
Get it? Cause Mac is an Enderman.
Oh my I get it. Oh my god. I'm very slow with it today.
Reference.
It's a reference. Macabrebard.
That's me.
If I kill you, will you drop an where's
Huh?
If I kill you, will you drop an Ender Pearl?
I'd prefer not to answer that question right now.
Wait, my ack.
Ack.
My iron ack.
Iron ack.
Oh my god, my iron ack.
Is it in your inventory?
No. Let's go.
What?
Don't worry about it, King. Imagine with
Where's your
animals.
iron axe?
It would be funny. It'd be like wearing shorts. Jort Storm.
George Storm's coming tonight.
Hell yeah. Jort Storm.
I have no idea where the iron axe is.
It's okay. I have it, King.
What?
I lied. I'm sorry.
I can't believe this.
Fuck.
I've been spending too much time with Smiley.
All he do is lie.
Will he know eat hot chip and lie?
Alright, and now I'm gonna fly right in and not smash my head against. I made it in.
Yippee! Good job, King. Yippee! Wait, I
This is
didn't.
a big room.
Oh, okay. I have your crypto miner, by the way.
Good, good. I can't make fucking reach.
I can't fucking see. I'm gonna pull my blind. Oh my god. Yeah, Jort Storm. All my jeans were short.
I'm gonna make like a little viewing area for you guys.
Hooray.
Oh my god, I can see. Okay.
I'm turning on full bright. There we go.
Oh my
God,
gosh.
Jitts420.
Now it would be crazy if he joined call. It would be absolutely crazy.
It would be unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I'll get it. I'll
Yes.
get it.
Justin.
You can do it, Mac.
Oh
Oh
my,
my god, hi Justin.
Hey, Justin.
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, boy.
You wanna run an experiment with us?
Experiments? I hardly know her.
Okay.
Experimenting.
What are we
Put
experimenting
in
on?
the
Napa?
men in
Yeah,
wait,
Nap is the
experiment.
guinea pig.
Yes.
I love men in my experiment.
Amen, men.
Amen, man.
Hey, does anyone have like
Did you
one?
run out of?
You guys didn't run out, did you?
No.
No.
Would you guys want me to bring you anything?
If you could pick me up a Pepsi, that'd be cool.
Do you
No way! I
happen
was
to
gonna say
have-
Pepsi Max. Okay, sorry.
Do you happen to have potions of Turtle Master or totems of undying?
Oh, are you looking for?
Who do you
Hang on a
think you're
second.
talking to?
Hang on a second. You're looking for
You think I'm
totems?
good at
Give me
this
a
game
second.
or something?
Maybe.
How many do you need?
Not.
Of what?
Totems.
Oh, as many as you have.
Okay.
At least 3.
At least 3. Okay, you're getting 3.
Okay.
Jort Storm.
Oh my god, Jubber, I finally finished my house.
Did ya?
Yar.
Yar.
Awesome.
Wait, you did?
Yeah.
Everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome.
It's awesome.
Ow.
Hey, copyright strike.
What can I say?
Oh.
Except you're welcome.
Everything is
copyright strike part
awesome.
2.
Napa press S, Napa press S.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, yada.
Alright, you're good.
Whoa!
Oh shit, thank you.
Arr.
Me when I wow. Me when I wow. Me when I wow.
Wow.
Me when I wow. Wow.
Wow. Fucking
Guys-
Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
Guys, did you know?
Nope.
Guys, did you know that when I died last time, I lost my book of coordinates, so the shulker farm is gone.
No, it's not. I have the coordinates for the shulker farm.
There's a shulker farm?
Awesome.
I'm so
There's a
sorry for
shulker
your loss,
farm.
though, King.
The duality of people on this server. The people who have like a book of coordinates and is like suffering from like I just lost like the most valuable piece of information, and then there's the one guy that didn't know it existed. Like,
The only
Cookie.
coordinate-like thing I have is a lodestone compass to Etherise house.
Huh?
that you gave it to him.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
What the hell is a lodestone compass?
Using a compass on a lodestone.
What's a lodestone?
King?
Oh boy.
The thing you put down, and then when you interact with a compass, the compass points directly to that instead of to north.
That's a thing?
Yeah.
Since when?
Oh, wait,
Since,
Justin, you
the
might not need the...
16 update, I think.
Yes, like when Netherite came out.
You're lying.
No, it's... We can prove it. Wait, where's just...
I'm in the end.
Here I go.
They call me Justin Jitts420.
No way.
That's crazy.
I miss having it.
I'm so sorry.
Did you guys know that my name is Justin Jitts420?
Oh my god, hi Justin.
Really?
Jits
I knew
420.
that.
Name
Good to meet
reveal.
you.
Name reveal.
For no reason in particular, can I take all the obsidian after we're done with this?
Yeah.
Yippee!
No, I want it.
I call dibs. L.
Who's
Yeah,
dibs?
you know,
Right. Right.
skill issue. Skill issue.
Where did you die?
That's not important.
Okay.
Bees. Get on the bees.
Oh my god, is that Justin Jits420?
Guys, there's so many terrible things.
Me when I go
There's
to Brazil.
so many. Oh my god, there's so many terrible things, and I just like stripped all my items from myself.
You did what?
Bro, stripping and shit.
I stripped, bro. I stripped.
For free?
I hate it. Yeah.
Not even link in bio?
Oh my god.
What can I
Get on the
say?
bees.
It's silly.
There is no link. tree
Everyone
for
is
this.
so silly today. Hello.
Oh
Get
my
on the
god,
bees. Get on the
Jesus
bees.
Christ.
That's what's most important. That's what's most
That's what's most
important.
important, beers. That's what's most important, beers. That's what's most important, beers, and that's what must be done. I can honestly say I've never had a beer in my life. As best we can tell, the pub is shut. That's not appropriate.
What is happening?
Do you guys wanna shear some more sheep?
Clearly, you've
Yeah,
never
sure, I got
been
you.
on the beers.
We
He's
need
never been
more,
on the beers.
We need more yellow and blue beds.
Okay, I'm on it, King.
Blue.
It was all yellow.
And it was all yellow.
And it was all yellow.
Boom, copy strike number 3.
Oh my god, I can up with another one. Let's see. Hey Siri, heads or tails? Heads.
What
Hello?
was that?
Shall we play Get on the Beers? Maybe later. Maybe I'll show Mac later what Get on the Beers is. Maybe later in the stream.
This is awesome. Me when I wish I was on
Get
the
on the
beers.
It's okay, guys. I'm having a drinky later.
He
Oh, that's
he
right.
drinky? He Get on the Beers? It's like the song.
Gatorade.
Oh,
Get
My
a
favorite
reference,
alcoholic
reference.
beverage.
I didn't get the reference. I didn't catch the drift.
I'm not picking up what you're putting down at all.
I am not stopping what you're shitting in.
Are you stepping on what I'm shitting? Napa has never stepped on what I'm shitting in.
I'm kind of confizzled, guys.
Come, fizz.
No,
fold.
other eye.
That was
That
not
was
bad.
like
No.
butter.
Bro became an
It's
evil
fine.
villain whose plans were foiled.
My bad.
No.
No, my
Schmerz at the end of every episode.
You'll rue the day.
You'll rue the day that you replaced my water.
My honest reaction.
Hey, the platypus, you're just in time.
Benny the platypus, what are you doing here?
What are you doing? Why are you so good at that? That's not okay.
Which one?
He is Perry the Platypus. He's just got to put on a fedora.
Someone put obsidian right
I don't have obsidian.
here. Where did the obsidian go?
Hey, the obsidian miner.
Which is crazy, by the way.
Which is crazy, by the
Does
way.
anyone have any more wood on them?
What kind of wood are you
Okay,
looking for?
so
Justin, shut
let me
up.
specify. Let me.
I love the energy
I'm
it brings to
flipping
this
that.
call.
Consider it clipped.
Perry the Platypus.
Great. What kind of wood are you looking for?
Get
Planks.
clipped, bozo.
Plank of what kind?
Any.
Okay, you're getting bamboo.
There's
Can you
bamboo
grab heads out of
planks?
that?
Yeah.
Oh my god,
how many
dude,
do you
this guy's
need?
still playing in 1.15.
I took the wrong
giving you
portal.
16. Is 16 enough?
Yes.
Wonderful.
I don't know, Mac. Was it all
What
yellow?
the?
I mean, I am eating
It
a
was
yellow
all
carrot.
yellow.
It was all yellow. Alright, and...
Hey, none of you guys happen to have any wheat, right?
I have some.
Oh my god.
It was all yellow.
Ooh,
I can bring some wheat over.
Why is there a sheep outside? Oh.
Slight problem. You see,
I
So,
don't
so
know.
the thing is,
Not to worry, chat.
the Dinglebobber didn't Dinglemob. You dingle?
consider the dingle bob.
Consider the bob dingled.
Who is Bob
That
and why is
sounds really.
he?
That sounds really wrong. Who's Bob and why is he dingling?
Are you tickling my bum?
I hate it here.
Ding on my gold till I bob.
Ding on my gold fillet, Bob. Betty the platypus.
They're escaping.
Best you can tell. The
It
top
is-
shot. That's not important.
Someone please make more
I
fences.
cannot be any more serious than that.
There's a blue one over there.
Excuse me.
You get
Bless
the
you.
other one.
This is what you get for not practicing.
Where am I? This is a desert. Someone should label all these portals.
I'm helping. No, get back in. No, get back in. Okay. All right, fixed.
Me when I'm eating a burger and it's spilling out the other end.
Oh. Oh yeah, Napa. Here's your wood.
Whoa.
Dang.
It was a Wookiee. It was.
Mm.
Mac.
There you go.
Maccabee's right. Napa is getting.
What?
I couldn't.
Man is spitting something, that's for sure.
Sorry, that was my little brother. Sorry.
Back in the cage.
The cage. Mm.
the donkey.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's
Donkey.
let's head to the test chamber, chat.
I could totally drop her this. Oh nope, I could not. Oh my god, I was ooh boy. That was a little too close.
He's parkouring and shit. Alright. Let's go.
Hooray!
Okay, so we're testing now?
Yeah.
What are we
Justin, are you
testing?
here? Bed. Explode.
There's some...
Remember this whole Lucas guy that won the silly event? Yeah.
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 Yeah, that fits.
Yeah, that fits.
Either way, they put us in a room. A rubber room.
I will not be part of the rubber room.
Mac, they put us in a room. A rubber room. Okay. Napa, they put us in a room. A rubber room.
I'm taking out the headphones. They're off.
Guys, maybe we make another obsidian box.
Maybe we make another obsidian box just for him.
Guys, it can't fit.
Oh my god, wait.
I'm disappointed.
Justin, you know what this is like? This is like the barrier they made just for Gojo.
Oh my god, I'm Gojo. That's the
back on.
Kimi. You Limo.
Okay. So, everybody, let's head up here. Let's head up here. So, this is the viewing area. So you guys can view from up here. I'm gonna be down there. The first thing that we're gonna do. So what we've got, chat, is we've got 4 types of beds. 1,
Maybe don't put them next to each other if there's any.
3, and 4. So we've got. Dude, for a second I thought it was gonna explode. I was like, dude, no way. I was like, okay, so we've got 4 types of beds. We've got white, blue, yellow, and red.
Why'd you hesitate on the yellow?
Shut up. I don't, you
You
know,
almost said
colors.
pissed.
So
He pissed is bad.
hypothetical, or actually, Otherite, do you want to explain what they're supposed to do?
Okay. Actually explain, or
Like, explain what they're supposed to do, because this is basically
I
just a
created
proof
it
of
in
concept.
some Minecraft on it. Okay, so this is like okay. So chat, I created a plugin per Lucas's request because if you've watched SomeNapa's latest YouTube video, and if you haven't, then you should go and do that. SomeNapa has a punishment that he has to live with every night he goes to sleep, where he can't actually sleep because whenever he clicks on a bed, it does a little silly thing. But what happens? So it explodes, and the different colors change the behavior of how the explosion works. And that's something that I also coded in and added to this plugin. So every other bed will behave how a white bed does. However, the other colors do something a bit differently. And we're gonna see if it actually works. So yeah.
So
And in order to help
hypothetically,
SomeNapa,
it should be-
subscribe right now with Prime.
And the catch is it only works for SomeNapa. This doesn't work for anyone else on the server. So yeah.
yeah. So hypothetically, in order, well, forgetting the white bed, in order, it should be in order from least destructive to most destructive right here.
Mhm.
Hypothetically. So we'll see how this goes.
I'm excited to
So-
see.
I love this
What
new
I
Mr.
have-
Beast video.
What I've done. Wait, this is so Mr. Beast core. Oh my god. What I've done so far is I've just gotten, like, earlier today I did a little bit of grinding for gear, not for anything else. And I got full netherite blast protection 4 armor.
Oh my god.
So that is what I'm wearing right now. And
Take
I've
it
also
up.
got a
Take it
totem.
up.
Whoa there, pal. So we're gonna test this out. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? So, okay, so hypothetically, if I just place blocks, I'm just gonna place a few blocks, be like, we'll go like this. And
This is
if
the
I just
weirdest
do,
ritual.
if I, yeah, this kind of looks a little bit weird. But if hypothetically, if I right
you
click this
summoned the
bed, it
Sandman.
should explode and I should die. Or well, actually, I should not die.
It's gonna be
'cause
so
I'm
embarrassing
using a totem.
if I coded it wrong. Anyway.
But we'll see. Are we ready?
We are.
All right, let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Hold on.
Make it night.
That was the stream, everybody.
3,
Yay!
2, 3, 2, 1.
Oh no!
Make it night.
It's not nighttime.
Ah! I'm sitting there like, there's no way. I coded it all wrong. I was panicking, bro.
Dude, for a second I was like, no way. We literally, oh my god.
I was sitting there like, I'm the worst coder on the planet. This is the most embarrassing stream of my life. You were all just watching the sunset. Oh no, wait, no, it's just me and Nepa.
Sunset.
Okay.
Yeah. What a great moment.
Yeah.
Hey, go, Joe.
I'm
What-
so
what are
glad
they
that
doing
it's
in
the
there?
evening and it's not the fucking morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
What
just,
what a nice sunset.
yeah, it's just a
Wait,
rainbow
that's
penis
alright,
blocking
that's
the
alright,
view.
Get a screenshot of this.
I got you, King. I'm a bit short, King.
With the sunset.
I'm trying, King. I don't want to tell you, King.
You get it?
Sure, King.
Happy birthday. Oh, never mind.
Oh,
Wait, I'll be right
Second
back.
you're joking. He's
No, I'll be
serious.
right back. I'll be right back. I'll be right
Okay, okay.
I say happy birthday and throw him a carrot. The second I press Q on the carrot, he leaves.
back. Sorry.
That's okay,
Well,
King.
now it's nighttime.
How fast is Be Right Back?
Yes.
Yeah.
I really hope this work.
Should we just do it?
Wait for Justin. Will you be?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I want to see it now. Just wait for Justin to get back.
Guys,
We're
I'm adding
building
to
up
this-
hype. Yeah.
He's putting on a Minecraft skin or something. I'm guessing. No, he's
No.
he's back. Welcome back, gamer. Okay,
He's back.
Thanks.
Okay. Here we go. 3,
please.
2,
Date pa yun.
1.
Oh.
Where am I? Hello.
Oh no.
Oh
No.
my god, guys.
Go in the.
Wait.
Oh my god.
Wait, that didn't. Wait, I just realized what happened.
Oh my
Wait, that actually makes. I'm so dumb.
Okay.
Oh god.
Well, I lived.
I know how to fix this.
Oh my god, bro.
Dude.
Wait, we should keep this. We should keep it. We should keep it.
Poodles.
Surely we keep it.
We can maybe do it in a
Dude, that's
minute.
crazy.
But we should get this to work first. I'm just gonna make like a strip down the side.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
This is wild.
Dude, I didn't even think of that. Like, but now that it happened, it's kind of obvious. Like, why didn't I think
This
of
is
that?
like a cool cinematic. Save me!
And listen to an edit. Listen to an edit.
Save me! Gojo's trapped.
Gojo needs your help with your mom's credit card information. All right,
Okay.
we
So
go again.
I was like, did I just get trapped? Like, did someone just did I just die and respawn like in like a nether portal trap or something? Like, what is happening?
That's
That
crazy
shit
that
was
it lit
so
up
funny.
every single one.
Hey,
was
at least
cool
it
looking.
works.
That was cool, bro.
That was fucking
Oh
hilarious.
wait, hang on.
So
Wait,
that was
no,
the white
it's,
bed.
this is it's gonna make it vertical instead of horizontal. I'm gonna do it this
Yeah,
way
you're
too.
right.
Guys, the plugin just makes another portal spawn.
Wait, hang on. I'm gonna do it over here so that it's not so jarring.
That's actually fucking hilarious.
Why are you in a jar?
They put me in. No.
No, 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 no.
Almost got him.
I'm so happy an ad played at that exact moment.
All right.
All right, you should be a-okay, King Emoji.
Okay. We're gonna do that one again, just because.
That
was
shit
a
was
little
fucking
silly.
hilarious.
Okay, are we ready, chat?
Hang on.
No, chat's not ready.
Oh wait.
Just give them 23 more seconds.
Okay.
Hang on, I gotta
Do
get
do
on.
do do do
Do,
do
do,
do.
Remember to use your Prime sub.
do,
You get one free subscription a month.
What the heck, guys? I hate Twitch. I told Twitch I don't want to have 3 ads, and they said, fuck you. Thanks, Twitch.
Yeah, Twitch just doesn't listen. It's kind of
You
silly.
don't want ads? Too bad.
Want a break from the ads?
Yes,
break from the
please. Have you heard of Twitch Prime?
Have you heard of Spotify Premium?
Oh my god. I am back.
All right.
They're back.
I think we're back.
We're back. Okay, let's go. All right.
All right, are we ready,
We're
chat?
so Barack.
All right, here we're gonna do this again. Let's see if how this goes. So this is like standing pretty close to the bed with a totem and blast protection 4.
Yo!
Dude,
That worked!
I
Oh my
only
God.
took like
Half damage.
I'm at half health.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the white
Oh my
bed.
God.
So it also breaks blocks. Cool. Next bed.
Blue.
This, wait, I need to heal.
Double D, double dive.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Someone hit me.
Excuse me. Oh my
Okay, never
god.
mind. We're good. You don't have to hit me.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Next bed, the blue bed. Let's see how this goes. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Awesome.
Oh,
So that one
that's so
didn't
good.
break any blocks, no destruction,
And less damage.
but it just did, yeah, and it did less damage.
Okay.
Actually, I want to see. Okay, I want to see. I want to see how that does with the, like a regular set of armor. So this is like protection 4 and then elytra.
You'll probably still live.
Yeah, let's see. Surely I heal that 1/2 heart. There we go. Okay, here we go. So protection 4, everything except for elytra. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that kills.
It does a bit of damage.
Just a little bit. So you
So
will...
that one's still like really strong.
Yeah,
This
the
guy's so
prot, the blast prot specifically is actually insane for this sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think the blast protection is where it's at. What if? Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. You see, Perry the Platypus, my invention is well, Etherized invention is a little bit silly.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah, platypus.
Perry the Platypus.
This is my Napa Explodinator.
Yo. Okay. All right, here we go. Here we go. This is yellow bed. Test one. Ow.
Give me.
Ow. Oh my god.
Say the word, I'll kill him right now.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Say the word. I gotta hit on his head. Say the word.
Word.
Nice, Mac.
I helped.
I'm helping.
I'm helping.
Okay, so that one didn't break any blocks, but it does more damage and it's a fire.
This one's doing numbers.
Okay, this one I want to step. Okay, you guys enjoy the view.
This one should be
I don't know
a little
why
silly.
are you backing up?
Let's. Oh wait, hold on. I still have.
Hold up, wait a
regeneration for 2
second.
seconds. Oh,
1.
where'd she go?
I'm back.
Oh. Oh my god. God damn.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just gonna
Are
slightly
we ready,
hide behind
chat?
the obsidian.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
This is the little. Oh god, I'm scared.
You have a
I
totem,
have a
you'll be
totem
fine.
and I'm scared. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
You're joking.
Are you?
Are you?
It's not fucking
SRS?
nighttime anymore. God damn it.
All right, chat. We gotta wait another 20 minutes.
Dude,
Oh, that's fucking hilarious.
are you serious?
All that build up. That's so funny.
In the meantime, chat, remember to stretch, drink some water, go to the bathroom, and have a snack.
Don't say the
In
word
that
water.
order.
Don't like it.
In that order.
Alrighty. Well,
What's a
Well, it's been a great stream. The
been
red
great,
bed
chat.
reveal will be the next stream.
Literally.
literally.
who needs popular MMOs? I want Etherite to review all my mods.
I guess I'll make more babies.
Meme review, but mod
Huh?
review. Huh?
More
Because
sheep
what could be more
babies.
fulfilling than reproduction?
Otherite, I'm so happy you know that reference.
I get the
What's the
reference.
What is a reference?
It's a quote from one of my favorite YouTubers. Yup.
Holy moly.
Is it Charlie Simsicle?
It's actually his younger brother.
SomeNapa?
Yes, Charlie Slimesicle's younger brother, Smothery Plot. Guys,
Yeah,
I'm being looked at.
they're just
Crazy.
staring.
No, because if I move left to right, they're just looking at me.
Or mod review. I actually heard I want Etherite to review my mom.
Oh. 7 out of 10.
Whoa, the fellas are here.
The fellas, they're just looking
they're
at me,
onto
bro.
you, bro.
They're gazing. Macabrebard has joined them. Oh my god, Ether has joined them.
Me and the boys.
Oh wait, hang on.
Me and the
Keep
boys
him right there
pulling
for
up.
a second.
Where's he going? Oh shit. have any tools on me.
Well. Alright, I'm on my way back.
I'm on my way.
I'm on my way.
This looks like a really bad Minecraft SMP thumbnail.
Or a really good one.
This is Justin.
What?
Dude, this is crazy. Wait, Justin, where'd you go? All I see, this one pillager is wearing your clothes.
Oh, he robbed me.
Oh. Hold on, let me move to the side.
This is the weirdest fucking.
This is so weird. I wonder how
Why are
close
they-
I can get.
Why are they hyper focused on Napa?
I think I'm. Oh god! Oh god!
Oh my god, I took all my armor off. Okay.
Oh, sorry,
Ow.
wrong pillager.
What
I
the
got
hell?
confused.
Wait, oh my god, they dropped head. Give it back. Give it
Guys,
back.
does anybody have milk?
Hang on, check this out. Oh. Yes, okay.
Ah.
I have milk.
Macabrebard, watch out! Behind you!
No, I don't have a cure. I don't have the milk cure, but I have a different one. It will get rid of the effect.
Watch out!
Oh my god, Etherai.
That was crazy. Oh wait, you have one.
No.
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
Guys, it's midday.
Maybe I need to send you. Send it to me. We're halfway. We're halfway.
Why is this horse following you? Oh, it's because you're holding carrots.
Yeah.
Almost there.
Bro, where did my Uber driver take me?
Hail.
No more horsing around. All we
Man,
do
I'm
is
so
build
hungry.
around.
I could eat a horse.
Oh, well, would you look at that?
Hey, Mac.
What's up, King?
Hey,
I'm
get
so
down
hungry, I
from
could
your
eat a
high horse.
Okay, I gotta go.
Macabrebard on his
You
high
better
He
not
was right
be-
here. He was right here. He was right here. He was right here. Down, down, down. Go, 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 go.
Oh, I have no tools.
Hey guys, you guys don't have other stream open, right?
No, I'm not streaming.
Which is crazy, by the way.
Bro has never streamed a day in his life.
Yeah. I don't do that.
What is happening?
It's a
Listen,
good
here, you can
question.
watch it and stream it to TikTok. Maybe just DMs. Thanks, Ati.
These are still
Thank you.
going.
I made it to
Jesus
bedrock.
Christ. He's gonna have to come back for. Oh,
Are you serious?
He's just outside.
Are you kidding me right now? Are you?
Date me. Yo, I'm
That's crazy.
Because I switched skins, that's why. You can't trap Gojo in there.
Of course.
What is that? What is that? God damn it.
You
I
can't trap
pushed you
Gojo in
too
there.
far.
Silly. That was my infinity. You actually just didn't punch me. See? I took no damage from that. I'll beat you up with my meat. I swear to God.
Uh,
Right? Hold on. What? Okay, guys. No more meat slapping, guys. Come on. Let's be civil.
Dude, I'm slapping you with my seeds.
Oh,
Plural.
shit.
I hate it here.
when is it nighttime? I want to go home.
I'll get comboed.
Surely.
Dude, another plus.
I'll get
50
comboed.
points.
I'm gonna make it.
Do you need help?
I made it.
Oh. Get in there. Dude, my tracking is actually crazy. Ooh, I dodged away. Fucking activating my wings.
Oh my god, other I catch.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gets meat slapped. Ready? Watch this. Dual wielding me.
Don't dual wield your meat on me.
Oh, there we go.
Guys, it's almost nighttime.
Oh.
Let's head back in.
I was just dual wielding my meat.
Okay.
Alright, let's go. Yippee!
Adora, you've died 5 more times since last time we played together on the server.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh my god, you went away!
Wonder if it breaks entities too.
Oh. Wait.
No,
that's
wait,
actually
no.
Oh my god, get him!
I'll pay you back. I'm so sorry.
Gojo.
I'll pay you
so-
back.
No, you can't tell me I'm
I'm Gojo.
Yes! Let's go! We got him!
Oh my god, I actually no. Okay, wait. Seriously, I cannot die anymore.
Okay.
Look at my death.
No.
I cannot die anymore.
I'm Gojo.
Hey, Mac.
I'm
Hey, Mac.
Gojo. Oh shit.
Hey, Adora.
He's got a weapon.
No, don't make us wait. Don't make us wait again. So wait another 20 minutes, bro.
You know what happened last time we waited 20 minutes?
Okay.
I'm
No, Mac.
Gojo.
Okay.
No, I'm Gojo.
It's Justin coming back.
I'm walking back, don't worry.
Where are you?
He's schlat walking back.
I'm by the nether portal.
Oh, he'll be back. You can also, yeah.
I'm schlatting back, don't worry.
Wait, you can meet up with Mac right now.
Holy shit.
Oh my god,
Don't think
Gojo.
me.
Gojo, when he can instant transmission.
Can he actually? No, he can. Yeah, he can. Cannon. Wait, my bow. Where's my bow?
Okay.
I have it.
Give.
Is it named?
Nope.
No. Damn, I'm lame as hell. Guys, that was supposed to be funny. Thanks.
No problem.
Okay, everybody to the viewing area before it becomes fucking daytime again.
Hooray! What's happening in the daytime?
Okay, here we go. Finally, we get to do the red bed. Let's do
Yippee!
this. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Oh my
my
god!
God!
Oh, goodbye.
Holy shit!
Ah! I swear to God, if my Elytra. Oh no.
I blew up! How did you die?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Dude, what?
Dude, I hid behind this corner and I lived.
Yup.
I had a shield out and everything. It wasn't enough.
Oh my god. If
up.
my Elytra.
You see an Elytra up there, Justin?
I didn't get an Elytra. I picked up some stuff. There's some stuff in the chamber.
There was some wheat, some blaze
Here,
powder.
Other, take this.
I got a sword, some balls.
I think this is your boat.
Oh, wait, so what was that like up there though?
I
Ow.
was too scared. I hid behind a corner.
Did you guys get low?
I lost half
I
a
took
heart.
damage. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And it broke all the fucking. God damn.
Does anyone happen to have
Did you?
any gas tears?
I guess.
Heather, I could just give you an Elytra.
Okay, can I please have one?
Yeah. I'll be right back.
Thanks,
Dude,
gamer.
That's crazy.
That was insane.
So the
Can
red
we see,
one
wait,
is
can we see the red bed like out in the
insane.
open? Can we see the red bed like out
Yeah.
in the open? I want to see like the radius.
Red Bed Redemption.
Okay,
Wait,
I'm
Justin,
just
don't worry
gonna-
about the Elytra now. We'll get that later. We'll get that later.
Guys, I'm just
Okay,
going
okay.
to die because I don't have any more totems, but it's fine.
That's fine.
Hooray.
Oh my god, I'm so
Red
excited to see
bed
it.
redemption.
My
I'm so happy about that.
That was incredible.
50 wants back.
Dude, top 10
Okay.
Mac moments easily.
Everybody over here. I'm gonna find some mobs.
What do
and
you
I'm gonna
mean
fill
over
them up.
here?
Okay.
Ready? There's a bunch of mobs over here. Stand across the river.
You
Wait.
know it.
Ready?
No. Yes.
Let me get some mobs. Hello, mobs.
Mac, no.
Ready? Here we go.
Go.
Why can't I?
Mobs are too
mobs nearby.
Oh,
close.
because there's mobs nearby. Oh my god.
And he calls himself a Minecrafter.
Hold on. One moment.
You need to craft another.
No, there's more in the thing.
Okay, Mr. MCYT.
I
G'day,
guess
mate.
I can just do it with no
G'day,
mobs.
mate.
Or wait, it's not loaded.
This is
What are you
equivalent
looking
to
at?
that one
Behind
guy
you!
shooting himself in a Macca's.
Gotta have friendly mobs. Yo. Do it in the sheep pen.
No.
Who are you? Okay, here we go.
3, 2, 1.
Whoa! Dude, I
Wait,
still...
Mac died too.
Oh
I was on the other side of the river.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
I took damage
Jesus
too! I took damage
Not
too!
the TV.
Dude.
Oh my
Wait,
god!
Mac, how? Wait, Mac, you gotta show me where you were.
Not the
He
TV.
was here! And I took damage too! Like, just a little
I
bit,
took two
but...
hearts.
That is crazy.
Holy, you were right there. Dude.
Dude. I was
that is
literally
so
like right here.
powerful.
Oh, what have we done? I'm so excited.
You've given me so much power, Other Eye.
I sure have. Wow, holy
You
shit.
think I made this? netherite armor and not diamond, or else it totally would have burned.
I'm
Oh
so
my- dude.
I'm oh my god.
The durability on some of my stuff is like really low.
Really?
Oh my
I'm not surprised, TBH.
That's crazy.
I got
Holy
netherite.
crap.
I can't get up to. Wait, hang on.
I think. Actually, I think my boots and leggings might have broken from that.
Here you go.
Wow.
Oh wait, no, my boots are here. Hold on.
Okay.
Where
All
are
the
my
way over
leggings?
there. Oh my
That is
god.
wild.
Guys, I'm such a coder. Oh my god, I'm so happy it worked.
Dude,
Oh my
that
You're
is
god.
Oppenheimer.
so powerful. Dude, this is literally Oppenheimer. Dude, that is
Given
insane.
time to steal all the red flowers in the world.
You can legally say I am become death. Death. I keep thinking about that.
I can't believe that
become
killed
death.
Mac across the river, dude.
That was
Holy
wild.
shit.
Dude, my helmet, which didn't have unbreaking, has 18 durability.
Oh my.
And it was like, I think it was like halfway before that.
Welp, time to grind out some blast protection armor on this server.
Oh, don't worry, Othereye, you're not my target.
Oh, there's a target.
This is actually my last day on the server. It was a great run.
Justin's like, I'm out. I'm not dealing with that.
I don't want to be here for New Year's with
Oh.
that weapon.
Mac.
Let
Yeet.
me catch. Hang on.
Oh my gosh. Here's my water bottle.
Water. Water. Water.
Water.
Water.
Water bottle. Water
Water.
bottle. Water bottle.
Walter.
My prime minister
Water.
shit himself in a Macca's.
That's dude, that is literally just insta death without a totem.
Jesus.
That's awesome.
Wait, I wonder what happens if you put.
Oh my God,
it's
Justin, high
it's
five,
morning
Justin.
again. God damn it.
Wait, hang on.
Hang
I was gonna say, I wonder what happens if you
Wait,
put
wait,
a
hang
block
on.
between you and it.
Water.
Where'd you go?
I'm descending.
SomeNapa is like
No, why
reverse
did
Sleeping
you're
Beauty.
so high?
He's like
You
awake.
just call me ugly?
A fucking salmon got in the way.
Yeah, you're like insomniac fucking hideous or something like that. I don't know.
What the fuck?
Average insomniac night just fucking blows up. No, not today.
Man, it's been a long day. I can't wait to get.
Explodes. Yes, here there is some sushi.
Sushi. What the hell?
Y'all are gonna be
No,
sleeping
no,
as soon as it's nighttime now.
Come back, Mrs. Willis Vlog, see you. Come back. Please. We don't inform you. Your pieces. Otherwise, please.
Leave me
We built the
alone.
farm. We're so close. You will be whole again.
No, I don't want to be old. I don't want to be.
The squids, they call to you.
No, they don't.
They'd be like blub 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 blub. Are squids fish?
Well,
Mm,
here we
no.
go.
Are these cephalopods?
Yippee!
Uh-oh. Wait, no, this is the perfect hiding spot because we just crouch on these.
They will not know. How will they know? They won't know, chat. They won't know, chat. They won't know, chat. As long as I don't press F3 on the stream, they will not know.
Exactly.
Surely you don't tap F3.
You right.
What a great time to stretch. Woo.
You right. Posture check.
Oh, that's so. Oh, wait, hang on. Let me redeem that. There's no posture check. I'm just gonna redeem water. Okay.
Oh my. Here's my water bottle,
Whoa.
chat.
Water. Walter.
Walter, I turned myself into a berry. The platypus.
It just did not work that time.
My throat was dry. Sorry, I was in the throat goat in that specific moment in time.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Throat Goat.
Okay. I want to go home.
Me too, Meg. Wah, 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 wah. Amen, men.
Amen.
Amen. I want. Okay. There's still a couple other things that I want to test, but there's not really. We can't really do it because we need Turtle Master potions. Actually, what happens if you have resistance? Because we have a resistance beacon. Or we can make a resistance beacon.
One way to find out.
I say Napa throws a slumber party with Ugly Dead Cat in their towers.
Wait, that's such a good idea. I love slumber parties in Ugly Dead Cat's towers.
Wait, hang on. I'm help. Either I jump. Alright, hang on. Let me
What?
just.
You want to come up with me, mate?
Alright, now let me just. Okay. Alright, now. Hang on. Now let me just. Okay. Alright. Hang on. Now let me just. There we go. Alright. Alright. Alright, hang on. Let me. There we go. Alright. Hang on. Now let me just. Oh, no, missed. Hang on.
Napa, can
Whoops.
you add a plugin that
Yeah.
lets people enchant any enchantment into any item? You know, like being able to put
No.
knockback on a stick
Oh,
or on
hang
a fish.
That's not too hard.
like a slapfish.
There we go.
I want to put protection 5 on my fish head. I want to wear my salmon
Protection
head.
5
and not
is
be
crazy.
afraid. Or prop 4 on my salmon head.
You know what? Oh, there you guys are.
Who pressed F3? Press up.
Oh, I just see them jumping.
Did I? Oh, that's my fault. There it is. I was fully expecting to like rise up to the surface and just see a red bed right next to me.
Ain't nothing more terrifying on this server.
It doesn't even have to be next to you, bro. It just has to be in the general
I
vicinity.
can't believe
Yeah,
Napa
they're
was like around here somewhere.
It's Roy.
Yeah.
And then
literally,
Mac
like, 20
died
blocks away.
over there. Like
That's
that's
crazy.
insane.
Does anyone have any more obsidian?
I
Obsidian, you
I don't even
say?
have pants, bro. I don't know what to tell it. What the heck?
How much more are you looking for?
Heatherite, can you open this chest?
Just like
This shopper?
maybe like
I can.
like 6.
5 or 6? I got you.
You can have the shulker.
Holy shit. Wait, Justin, didn't you say
Oh.
you were gonna like sell those boxes?
Yeah.
Thanks, Justin. I'll make this up to you. I'll code you a plugin or something.
Okay.
Oh.
No.
No.
I coded Gojo's
Otherwise it's gonna be
Infinity
like-
for Justin.
Otherwise it's gonna be like, bug fixes to the nut plugin, and it's gonna be like giving Justin god powers.
no. Something more creative.
Oh, thanks. Okay.
Wait, I lost my. Does anyone have any
Forgive me.
gas tears by any chance?
Oh my god.
How many are we talking?
4.
4? Uh-oh.
Rawr.
Oh, wow.
That was so much fun.
So so have you guys seen where like you know like at the end of speedruns where they like blow up the beds to kill the dragon?
Let's
But
go
the
get some
bed
gas
is-
tears. Let's go get some gas tears. I know.
Wait, okay, that's not what I was
Eminem,
thinking
Eminem.
of, but I love that idea. Like what I wonder if like these beds
Wait, can we go and find a
will,
warden?
like,
Can we go and find a warden? Sorry, continue.
I wonder. Wait, that's actually a good idea. I wonder if like it works the same, where like the explosion will only like it won't kill you if you're underneath it. You know? Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, like when you place the
Yes.
block and you have a block between
Yeah.
you and the bed?
Yeah.
I think the red bed would still kill
I
you.
have a feeling.
It will.
Call it a hunch.
Okay. Wait, but
I
it
put a
probably
gold
won't.
head on the penis.
It won't have the same effect in other dimensions, though, right? Because
Oh
there's no
yeah, no.
nighttime.
In the end in the nether it'll just be normal. You held no power above anyone else in those dimensions.
So we have to. So what
I'm
you're
living in
saying
the
is
end.
that we,
Not yet, because apparently I'm getting a plug-in.
Oh boy.
what you're saying is that
Hollow
go
purple.
find a warden. Well,
Yeah, can
after
we
we get after we get another Elytra, we'll find a warden.
wait a hot minute, I might
I
have a
want-
spare elytra, I just remembered. Wait.
I just gave you an elytra.
The shulker didn't have an elytra in it.
Surely.
I was
guess
watching
not.
the stream. There was narn.
Arl. Someone wants a warden. You say?
Yeah. Do you know where?
It
Nurse's
just
City
spawns
is?
one in.
I didn't have a spare elytra.
Where are you guys? I gotta. Well, all we really need is a deep dark, because I
Hey
Where are
Nappa,
you guys?
can you do me a
Yeah.
can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you theoretically, very hypothetically, / give at Etherai elytra?
How about I just give you one of my extras?
That would be huge.
Yeah, then I check this out.
One cycle Dargan. Me when one cycle. Wait, 1 second, King. I'm sorry. I'm awake. I am? Yeah.
Morning.
What? Wait. Sorry, I'm not awake, actually. I lied. Me when I lie.
Good night.
Me when I'm smuggery plot.
Bloop.
I'm almost paying attention, gamer. I'm sorry. Wait, I'm almost paying attention, gamer, I swear. Okay, I'm paying attention.
Okay. I have 4 red beds, chat.
Oh no.
So all we really need is
All we really need is one, but
the deep dark.
Oh my god. Hey, I'm so excited, but you don't happen to have any potatoes.
I do.
Never mind, this is better. TYSM King. Okay, then. Where should we go?
I'm fish boy. Actually, I'm Tata Kimi. Yo, I'm
What are you saying, bro?
I am the honored one.
Other eye.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm but check this out.
Okay, we don't need to get any gas tears.
King. I don't know how to tell you this. You can't just place it down and spawn it.
No, I know. But if you find a deep
Okay.
dark,
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I think it's like the ones that are like you can't break it and
Wait, I have the coordinate.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah,
I
we
might
just
actually
did
have
it.
coordinates for a deep dark.
I could just drop this down and it'll spawn it.
I might actually have wait, let me have a look. Percent app data, percent. I might actually have coordinates. Let me see.
Why are they in percent app data?
I take screenshots of coordinates.
Oh, okay.
That's how
That
I
makes
save
sense.
everything. Where?
So, like, why are you gonna have the
Clearly you don't
coordinates in
lose
the
to Fish Boy
files
Salmon Boy. Fish Boy Salmon Boy. That's my full name.
Do I have?
Fish boy, salmon boy.
wait, Mac, do you have any more totems?
I have one.
Yeah, I think I also have one. So I'll use that. Oh yeah, here we go.
I'll kill you. I mean, blub blub blub.
Okay, wait.
Alright, we have one shot at this, chat. If I don't kill the warden with the first bed, I'm dead as fuck.
There should be a deep dark here. Ancient city.
Alright.
Bye,
Time
bit
to
shady
fly.
shade. Thank you for being here.
Bye,
Bye,
bit shady shade. Why do I have an iron sword?
That's Otherwise.
Okay, let's go.
Wait, Napa, do you have an ender chest? I accidentally mined mine with my other
Yeah,
pickaxe.
I do.
I'm gonna follow the Aussie.
I sure hope this elytra doesn't break by the time we get there.
Surely.
Surely.
It's this freaking guy.
Right?
Who invited him?
I did.
What is this like? What is this like? His server or something?
Imagine, dude.
Well, we got Mr. Owner over here.
Mr. Op. You're
Oh
not
wait,
up
it's
and running, Napa.
19,000? Oh my god.
You can just TP to
Like
me,
that.
King.
I've lost the Aussie.
Man, these chunks.
I found the Aussie.
I'm chunking.
I'm just flying into the unknown at this point. I don't care.
Into the unknown. Into the unknown.
Would more RAM make this go faster?
Probably.
Probably.
Hate rams. Prefer sheep.
That sucks.
Oh boy.
Mac has been the only one to get all of my jokes. I'll say something stupid, and I'll only hear from Mac, and that's it.
Alright, how did you find this place? It's so far.
I spent a stream spending 2.5 hours searching. Back before I lost all my things and I had it in a light. Oh my god.
Bar.
Did we pass it? Oh,
It's at 19,000.
Man.
I think I might just
Oh, did
what?
our elytra break?
No, but it's less than halfway, bro. So we're swimming.
I'll just TP you. I'll just TP you.
Okay.
we're swimming.
Once I get there.
We're swimming. Man, I wish I had a
I would offer you another one, but they're broken.
I have a trident, I just don't have any rich in them. Huh?
That's English.
Where did you know?
You when the cat got my tongue.
You've just attempted to pronounce Worcestershire sauce.
Yo. Worcestershire.
UOV, you're in a misspeaking competition and otherwise your opponent.
What is it? I'm winning. Wait, no, I'm.
True and real. I'm literally flopping like a fish.
You're literally.
Any minute now, we're gonna get there. I can feel
Don't
it in
worry,
my
guys. I'm
bones.
only 3,000 blocks away. Dude, I'm getting flashbacks to the 1.20 update event.
No, we could have just brought a bow other way.
See, if penguins were on the server, then we would be getting there before Napa is all I'm saying.
I don't think so.
I have a random
I think
bucket of.
I
gold
think
already, I don't know
Elytra is
why.
still gonna be faster.
Oh my god, Ether, can you code penguins into the goofies?
Maybe. You know, if the 1.20 update, 1.21 update does not favor the penguins, I'm adding them myself.
Yippee!
I don't care. I want penguin in game.
I've wanted penguins in Minecraft for so long.
Right? They're just little guys. Oh, I'm getting shot.
Ever since they added ice, I've wanted penguins.
Wait, who?
We use a trident.
Guys,
Reddit?
I think I might
Nah.
be here.
Yippee!
I found like a mountain biome. Oh wait, no, I'm still 1,000 blocks away.
You're built like a mountain biome.
Thanks.
You know what's crazy? The sun is starting to rise, so we're gonna have to wait another 20 minutes.
Oh my god.
Well,
Remember, guys, into the unknown.
Into the unknown.
awesome. I have just found another elytra.
Slash SR.
Huge.
Where did Justin go?
On my way.
I'm on my way. Huh!
I'm on my way.
Alright, chat. I've arrived. Good heavens.
Oh, good heavens.
It's like
Oh,
a
good
red
heavens.
horn.
Everybody close your eyes.
Okay.
No thanks.
Hang on, my sister's calling me.
Yippee.
Ah!
Oh, I've been
Got me a
fished.
big one. I've got me a big one. Oh, he's fighting. Oh, he's wrangling. He's fighting.
Yeah?
He's fighting. That wasn't me.
It's wrangling.
Oh, where am I?
And if you look here, we've got the gorgeous.
You guys do know that there's a
Jitts420
huge
fish.
cave right here.
There is?
Terror swoop force moment. Fuck, I immediately hit the ground.
What did he say? What
I
moment?
found the deep dark
Terror
chat.
swoop force. Oh,
we're
hey, look,
we're
it's the
almost
deep dark.
there. We're just.
Crouch,
Wait,
crouch,
I could
crouch,
be
crouch,
helping.
Crouch, crouch.
Crouch? Why would I do that?
Well, because we
Actually,
didn't
wait.
set it up.
And?
Adventure time. There's a spawner! It was a gold apple. There was a gold apple.
Yeah, I'll handle the fighting. It's cool.
I can't-
I'm Gojo.
I'm- Okay, thanks, Gojo.
Oh, it's the place.
Wait, is there a city?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yippee!
Dude,
Wait.
we are so dead. Wait, hold on. Wait, we can set our we should set our spawns here. Hold on.
Nappa, do not go in the bed.
Wait,
No,
I don't
no,
have
we-
a.
we, like-
Okay, I don't have a bucket, but that's fine.
Like at the okay, it's still daytime. Yeah, we're good. It's still morning. We're good.
We're almost there.
Can Macabrebard, what are your coordinates?
We're just like 90 blocks away or something.
19,310, 3,100.
I just heard that.
Jeez. I
really want to open this
Yeah.
chest, and I'm going to open it.
I've looted almost everything there, so I don't know what I have and haven't.
In the ancient city?
Well, yeah.
Oh shit.
Like, how do you guys think I got those coordinates?
Oh boy.
Well, that'll do it.
Oh my god, it's dark.
That didn't sound very good.
I lost
Oh.
all of my things
Oh,
again. I'm accurate.
That's right.
I want to go home.
behind us. The spawner's right behind us.
I'm gonna. I will be
hey, guys.
right back.
Oh my gosh.
Shut the fuck up, Napa. Shut the fuck up.
Guys, my thing.
What's making all the noise up there?
It's a fucking
Come on,
bat
man.
or some
I'm sorry,
shit.
No.
Oh,
No, it's a bat. It's a
that's
bat. This bat is being so damn loud.
Oh no. I just want to get my things back. I can't
Where's
do
your
this.
stuff? Where's your stuff?
I don't know.
It's up there. It's up there. It's up there. It's up there. It's up
I'm
there.
gonna cry.
Wait. Use the wool. Use the wool.
I can't.
You can step on wool. Dude.
No, I can't see. I can't see.
Turn on your hitboxes. F3B. F3B.
How? How? Oh my god.
They're down there. They're down there.
And up there too. Okay, I'm gonna get the ones at top first. Where do I get?
Wait. Do you need wool?
Yeah.
There.
Where? Oh, thank you.
Oh.
Oh, we're fucked.
Oh.
I don't have a totem.
Wait. Did one spawn?
No. It's on level 2 out of 4. Or maybe level 3 out of 4. Oh, we're fucked now. Now we're really fucked.
Oh God.
No, my things, bro. I just got that elytra, bro. What the heck? You know what? See you guys later. Good luck. I'm getting out of here. I'm out. Oh, you guys can enjoy. And Nappy, you have a bed, right? Is it nighttime? I don't know what time it is. You know what? You got.
Didn't set my spawn anywhere, bro. Guys, I did not think we were gonna be in an ancient city today.
Me neither, TBH.
I'm just gonna slowly crouch this way.
Oh, other right over here. Your stuff. I found some of it.
Okay. Thanks.
Oh, I see the guy.
Shovel.
I see the
just
guy.
Oh. I'm like your prime minister at Macca's right now.
I got my elytra back. Yippee. Okay.
You get your elytra.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that all your things?
No, but it's okay. It's the most important one. I have the dragon egg and the elytra. Everything is fine.
Why did Mac just leave? He was just like, nope, I'm out.
He couldn't handle the neutron style. Oh my god, I'm going back. I'm going back.
Wait, where? I can't see him. Where is
Can't
he?
see him either. The better, the better.
You fuck you.
I'm sorry. Maybe I'm Millie Bobby Brown.
Okay.
Even I'm Wallace and Gromit.
Okay.
Oh, he's right there. He's like right on your stuff.
I know. I'm not seeing that chest plate ever again.
What the frinky dink Scoob?
Like Scoob.
Oh, Slink Scoob.
Ruh-oh.
It's good, bro.
I'm freaking out, man. He's
Okay.
staring at me. What if I lure him away with an arrow? It worked. It worked.
It worked.
He's walking away. Did it work? I'll try another arrow. Oh, it had the opposite effect, actually.
He spawned another one. Oh no, wait, is he going down? Please tell me he's going down.
It's
No,
going
there's
down
two, there's
for
two.
Where's the second one?
Okay, go. Fuck, shit, fuck, shit. Okay.
Fuck, shit
Oh
balls.
my god,
Shit balls,
shit
fuck.
balls.
Shit balls. I'm shitting in a Macca's.
She did it in a
Call me
Macca's.
an Australian Prime Minister.
Call me an
Macca's
Australian
is a
Prime
Macca's.
Minister right now.
This is such a Macca's.
This is such a Macca's.
This is such a Macca's. What?
Go. Go.
What if I elytra, grab all your stuff and leave?
You know what? It's okay. We don't need it. I've got an elytra. Let's just get
in
the
a
frick
mad
out of here.
dash.
Wait, Napa. It's night. Is it nighttime? Surely it's nighttime by now. Napa, you gotta test it out. Napa, you gotta test it out. Wait, we need to get a bit of.
Has it been 20 minutes?
It doesn't matter. Just give it a shot. Actually, wait. How do we tell if it's nighttime? If we press F3, does it say the time? Facing west chunk. F3 biome, local sound. We should have brought a clock with us. Hey, Napa, can you /give at Etherai a clock?
No. It's part of the immersion.
Bruce, how are we gonna know if it's nighttime?
Oh, he's right next to the spawner.
He's right behind me, isn't he?
What if I shoot him with an arrow?
That would be fucking hilarious. Please do it.
I'm scared. Okay, I'm gonna do it. Wait, no, I'm not gonna do it. Chat, one gifted and I'll do it.
What? No.
One gifted is crazy.
Oh my god, yeah, my white wolf from ages ago. On one of my last time I was here. That's crazy. Okay.
That is, what are we, insane. Did I wish he'd move from there? Like, hello?
One gifted and I'll give him a nice kiss. Just joking, chat. Please don't do that. Please don't give me any.
I was about to click it.
No. Please.
What is this altar of sorts? What is this altar business?
Guys, this is scary, bro.
I'm freaking out, Scoops! Like zoinks, man! I didn't see
Oh, shit.
You alright? You alright?
I'm walking.
I'm literally flying away.
I'm scared. I can't see.
Royki!
Oh my god.
Guys, I literally spawned one and flew away.
He's onto me.
Oh, I see him.
There's another one. Are you for real? Oh my god.
There's another one.
Wait, one went back in.
Oh thank god. There's
Okay,
only one.
okay.
Left. He's over there.
He's right next to me. Hey man, what's going on?
No, just
Hey!
Is
Hey!
that you? Is that you? Oh, it is.
Hey!
There's one guy way over there.
Oh! Oh! Stop! Can you please stop this madness now? Bollocks! Oh fuck! Okay, I'll stop making fun of the British.
Hey.
Stop making fun of the British. I'll stop.
Shit and balls. Where are
Hey,
you?
Justin.
I can't.
Oh, don't scare me like that, you mother flipper.
Where's
I'll
the
hit you
guy?
with my
Where's the
meat.
guy? Where's the guy? Where's the? Oh god. Don't
He's
do
over
that.
there.
Oh,
He's over there.
God.
He's over there. He's over there.
Okay. Are you guys ready for this?
No, I can't see a
I'm
thing.
leaving.
Okay, just in.
Where's the
Okay,
other
I
eye?
don't know how far away to go. I don't know where you are. I don't want to lose my
Oh, wait,
elytra.
I see other eye. I see other eye.
I can't
Oh my
see
God, he's
anything.
close.
I can't see
I'm
anything.
gonna loop around. Otherwise, don't worry. I'm gonna loop around.
Where's
Is
his
he-
hitbox?
Is he on me? He's not on me, is he? No.
Call me the looper.
I can't see anything.
Dude, is he below me or some shit?
Where's bro
Where
at?
is he? Oh, hi. He's here,
I'm
isn't he?
hyperventilating, Scoobs. Raggy?
Raggy?
Scary as fuck.
I can hear him, but that's all.
Wait, I don't have my
Whoever
armor on me.
threw that paper.
I see him!
I guess doesn't matter because I'm gonna. Oh, he's right there. Everybody run! Everybody run! I have a bed. Everybody run!
Oh. What do I want to
All
spawn
right,
the
3,
third one?
2, 1. Oh God! It's not nighttime. It's not nighttime. Run away! Run away! Run away! It's not nighttime. It's not nighttime.
Just fly, just
Get
fly,
away.
just fly.
And the right. Oh God. Oh God. Justin, are you in a safe place?
I'm in the walls.
Can I teleport Etherite to you?
Oh no, wait, hold on.
Oh my God! Wait, I see where Etherite died. Never mind.
Okay, now you can,
Okay.
I just wanted to get away, bro.
Crouch.
Oh my God! He's after me. He's after me. He's I'm out.
way after you.
I think
I'm out.
I'm not sure if it's like nighttime yet. I think it was at like starting to set. There were mobs. Wait, there were mobs outside Napa.
Fly away.
Wait, Napa, there were mobs.
Napa. There were mobs. Dude, we have such a spot.
What a view.
Where's your
just
stuff?
spawned
Napa, did you
another
grab other stuff?
I didn't grab shit, bro. I can't see.
That's okay. Don't worry about my stuff. I'll just get. It's easier to get 4 wooden tears than it is.
I just spawned another one.
I heard it.
Oh my God, we're fucked.
Napa,
We're completely fucked. Completely fucked. Nah.
Apparently
We're
flying makes noise.
Well, that makes
Who would've
sense.
thunk it?
Like not even like using rockets, just like flying.
He spin.
Oh my God, dude.
I hate him.
Jesus Christ, dude. There's like
Ruggy?
3 wardens in here.
Raggy.
Reggie.
Wait, no, you can't fly. Fuck.
Etherite, your stuff is like near the portal.
Okay, other here, follow me.
It's okay.
Are you sure it's nighttime? Oh
Launch.
my God, I found diamonds.
I have a feeling, but hey, worst
You
case.
hide in there.
Is there a way to tell if it's nighttime through the F3 menu?
Let me facing south, current light, CH biome, local difficulty, sounds, fabric, indigo, hidden, nerd, fabric, server, loader, Minecraft, FP,
There, please look up. You're like right next to the edge.
Wait, there's a little T. No, never mind. I'm stupid. Chunks. No, there's no way to tell. Just give it a go. What's the worst that happens? He kills you before you kill him?
Yeah. I wish I had more than one totem, bro.
Wait, what if I just... Oh god. I feel like a cat. You know when cats and they're like, they want to push bottles off of shelves?
Don't. No. Get back. Oh, he's so fixated on me. He wants me so bad. You see it? You see? Dude, he wants me so bad. Okay, Heather, here's the plan. Here's the plan. Here's the plan. Here's the plan. I give you my elytra. You fly down, get your stuff while I lure him away.
I don't like that plan.
Why not?
I don't know where
think
my
it's genius.
things are.
I can see it. You can see it from here. You see where the experience
Turn your
point
hitboxes
is?
on. Turn your hitboxes.
My hitboxes are on.
They're like at the center. They're like right next to the portal.
You mean where that guy is?
Yeah.
No, cause he's focused on me. Look, he's focused on me. So I'm gonna keep luring him away. See? You see?
I can only see one experience point. I can't see anything else.
I'm luring his ass away. Oh, he's on you. He's on you. No. You don't follow me. You go the other way. You go the other way. You fly down.
Yeah, but if he's on me now, then I'm the one who has to go this way. Oh no, wait.
He's most definitely on me.
Okay. I don't know where my thing are.
Switch back. It's like right at the center. Like right where the candles are. Right,
Yeah.
Nappa?
Right where the
Yeah.
candles are.
It's like to the side.
Oh god,
might be
I
on the
just
other
got hit
side.
with the deep dark.
No. Wait, no, he's still on me. He's still on me. He's still right here. I'm looking at him. You're safe.
Where the fuck
This
is-
one
oh, there.
specifically, he's not looking at you. But the other ones, I don't know.
Okay, there's more. Okay.
There's more. Nappa spawned them because he forgot to crouch.
Well, it's because I was fucking flying away, bro.
Okay.
Fly quieter. Ever heard of owls?
I'm not an
Okay.
owl, Justin.
He's still on me.
He's salami?
He's the salami lid.
Where? I can't find my things. I can't see any of them. Dude, the only way I'm gonna be able to get them is if I go near him, and I'm gonna get hit with the darkness effect, and I'm not gonna be able to.
Oh, wait, he's turning around. Wait, no, you're good. I'm crazy.
Guys, if we make it out of this, we're the best Minecraft players in the world.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't find my thing, and it's gone.
Wait, does anyone have any snowballs or eggs?
I did have snowballs. I don't know where they are though. Shit. Fuck.
Okay, Warden is still on me.
I can't see any of my things. You know what? It's
Keep
fine.
going towards. Go towards where he is.
I fell down.
Oh, I see you.
Yeah, I see the guy.
Okay, just tell me. Just tell me.
I'm-
Just give me directions. I'll just go wherever you say.
Oh, yeah, I took damage.
Don't do what Nappa's doing.
I don't know when happened. Okay.
Wait, he's moving. Don't move. Back up. He's no longer on me. He's no longer focused on me.
Other eye, I think it might have
He's
been
focused on me. He's
It might have
focused on
been
me.
what?
It might have been the 5 minutes.
Damn. Okay. It is what it is.
Because I'm not seeing the stuff.
That's okay.
Damn, that's so sucky balls though.
Bad idea. Terrible idea.
Fly up
Yeah,
to where I am. Fly up to where I am.
I tried, but I'm not enough food to regenerate, and I hit a wall, and I'm half health.
Wait, where's other eye? I see other eye.
Big brain plan. I'm so glad that I came here ages ago and brought all of this wool with me. And placed it.
How did you get all this wool?
I do not remember if I'll TBHRN.
If I'll to be honest with you, right now. Words. Should we just shoot him?
I can make it such a bad joke. I could make the worst joke.
I'm shooting him, bro.
What the?
Get him!
He has sonic powers, dude. He's literally gonna go super speed on you.
He's gonna go
I
super
just turned
speed.
to X. I just turned XQC. Sorry.
I can't fucking hit him. He's behind a wall.
He's got strats.
Oh, I hit him. He wants me. He wants me bad.
Nuh-uh.
Nepo, can you? No, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I'm going home, bro. I'm taking your elytra with me, Justin.
Slash
Where are
TP other eye.
Just keep rid of me.
Both of you crouch now.
Okay.
I'm crouching.
Okay, good.
Peeking.
Where did bro go? Oh, there he is.
Would this make you feel any better?
Is that mine?
Yeah.
Thanks, King. Here you go, and here you go. I don't know how the hell you got that, but thank you. It does make
Dude,
me
how many
feel a little
shots
bit-
can this guy take?
You still have the elytra, by the way.
I do? Oh no, I don't. I threw it. Oh no. Oh.
Oh my god!
Yippee!
I killed it! Kill a mob near a sculpt catalyst. Don't mind if I do.
Are you being for fucking real right now?
Surely. Oh my god!
SomeNapa!
Nope, 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 nope. I can't see. I can't see. I can't see. I can't see. I can't see.
We're never making it out of here alive. You know what? It was really nice knowing you guys, but this
I can't see.
Napa, I swear to God.
I can't see. I can't see. I'm out.
Just.
Hey, what's up? Oh, I should not eat.
Oh, I just spawned another one.
Oh.
I'm so dead. 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 I'm so dead.
This.
Where am I?
I have 1.5 hearts.
I'm never getting out of here.
Okay, guys, where's the exit?
There
How
was
do we
no
leave?
exit.
How am I alive?
What do you mean there's
Oh
no
my
exit?
God.
How did you leave the first time?
We came here.
That's what I'm saying, dog.
Dude, I can't take this much cortisol. I can't see anything.
Me with my cortisol.
Head away slowly.
You can TP at the right to me. I'm gonna put you safe spot.
Other right? Are you near me?
I don't know where
Yes,
I
you
am.
are. Just keep going that direction. Keep going that direction. Yeah,
Both of
yeah.
you just both of you TP to me. Both of you TP to me. Both of you TP to me.
No, we're better.
What do you mean?
Okay. Okay. Sure, King. It's not like I'm safe over here with a lot of food. Wait, don't TP
Okay.
yet. Don't TP yet. Don't TP yet. Don't TP yet.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, we can
Dude.
we
Hey,
can
other
test
eye.
the bed thing another time.
Dude. All I need to know is if it's nighttime.
Okay, Napa, I know how to
that's
I know how to figure that out. TP me 1,000 blocks in the air, and then TP me
Then
back.
you're gonna die. Okay.
Here, look, I'll
Slash
give you. Wait, here's my
TP.
his. Okay,
Don't give me your valuables. Oh my god. Okay.
I've done it. It's too late. You
Wait,
can't.
you have nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I
Okay,
died king in an
TP
LD.
other eye. Wait, what are our coordinates?
How many times have I died this stream? Jesus Christ. Okay.
Slash TP other eye 19262 2000 30 40. Ready?
Mm-hmm. I can't tell. There's no sun. Just
Let me
just
know.
no-
Let me know when to TP you. Let me know when to TP
Okay, okay,
you.
okay. I think it's daytime. I think it's daytime. Oh my god. I'm recording this whole thing, by the way. I've been recording the stream. It's daytime now!
What? I had water. What do you mean?
Wait, you can still just TP me back. Okay, it is daytime, but I don't know what level of daytime because it is raining outside.
Oh my god.
So we might have to do that
Well.
again in 5 minutes. Should I set a timer on my phone and traumatize everyone in 5 minutes?
Yes, dude. This is awful.
Okay.
Dude, where did Mac go?
Mac!
He's still in VC.
Alright, I set a timer. Brace yourselves. I'm gonna go and grab a slice of bread. I'll be. I'm hungry.
I'm gonna go leave. I'm gonna go to the surface.
What the hell? Okay.
Just in case. That seems like the most intelligent thing I can do right now. Bread moment. Oh,
Well,
goodbye.
I think the warden went back into the ground. At least the one near me and Other Eye.
Well, I've literally just been going around collecting the spawners.
Holy shit.
What do we holy shit did?
Holy shit, dude.
I'm gonna try to find just gold and iron and just make
Make a clock.
rinky dink. Yeah.
It's golden redstone king.
Oh, fuck.
Close enough, close enough. I'm sure you can
Listen,
make an
man,
iron clock
I
if you
don't.
wanted.
I'm gonna make an iron car. Iron
What?
car. An iron car. That's what I'm going to make. Nothing else. What did you think?
Okay.
Stinky ass mob. Stinky. Stinky.
Howdy.
Hi.
Howdy, partner.
I grabbed an apple.
That's not bread. You lied.
Well, we have bread, but it's suckish bread.
Other Eye, you're giving me your things as if I'm going to live.
Well, hear me out. I give you my things, and then you give me your things except for the red bed. And then you go do your thing, and then you TP me to you, and I've got your things and my things. Once you die.
That made sense in my head. Go for it.
Hold on. I have a better plan. Wait, Justin, is it daytime still? Are you at the surface yet?
Oh, I am at the surface because I found 2 spawners right next to me. It is daytime.
Awesome. Oh, I found redstone. I'm gonna make a little respawn room.
I'm gonna respawn these. Sorry.
Napa, you won't. Once you explode with a bed, your respawn point won't save.
Oh. You're right.
We got a respawn anchor.
Yeah, that won't work either. Unfortunately.
That's one of the flaws with this plugin. If
That's
you
fine.
want me to try and fix it, I can.
It's fine. I have a totem. Surely I live.
It's nighttime.
Is it?
Yep.
Other Eye runs. Okay. I'm gonna. Fuck, I don't have any wood.
You gonna fuck? What?
Okay.
Guys, where's my wood? Here it is.
Sorry.
Shut up.
How old are you? Asking for a
22
friend.
years young.
Alright.
Who is this guy?
I have a good view.
Other Eye, I'm just gonna dump
Me when I
all
sneak
of
into
my
Napa's
shit.
house.
Dump your shit in that
Dump-
room. I know where it is, and I can get your things when you die. Okay.
Should I take the totem with me? Yeah, I'm gonna take the totem with me.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, here we go.
This
When
is
I
fuck around and
was-
find out call.
Dude.
A young boy.
It's so Jover.
Dude,
It
you're
is so
gonna blow
Jover,
up
bro.
half of this place. Like that's so cool.
Wait, Other Eye, where are you?
I climbed a pillar. I'm F3B king.
Okay. Oh, I see you. Okay. So I just have to spawn one and kill it with this bed.
Yep.
I'm gonna try and not go near you though. I'm gonna try and.
I got
You
scared.
might want to build yourself a bit more of a platform.
I've only got 2 more blocks, King.
Okay. I'll try and go really far. Okay. Do you see me?
Mm-hmm.
Me on the phone with Napa when
I
I
don't
get
know.
to
I don't know
LA.
if this is far enough. I don't know if this is far enough, bro.
Probably not. It doesn't matter where you go. I'll be able to see the explosion from wherever.
Well, yeah, but like, okay,
You got this, King?
dude, I'm shitting myself right now.
It's okay. You're gonna die anyway, King.
I am naked in an ancient city.
You got this. You got this. You got this. Just go up
Now
and
my
say
first time being
hello.
naked in the
If you're
city.
really friendly, they'll want to be friends with you too. I guarantee it. Just be nice. Be yourself. And if you
Oh,
be
that sounds
yourself,
good.
nothing will go wrong. They'll fall in love with you and it's fine. Just be yourself. You got this.
Okay. All right, here we go. I'm just gonna run around, see what happens.
Nice lie, other eye. That's a good one. I gotta use that one.
Shut the fuck up. Don't come this way. Don't come this way.
I'll lead him away. I'll lead him away. I'll lead him away.
I can AC shit. I can AC shit. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go.
Try not to dilly dally.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, that should be far enough. I should be
This way.
safe.
This way. This way. Hey, sir. This
Yep,
way.
yep.
Oh god.
Yep, yep, yep.
knows,
Dude,
who
up in
knows,
his
who knows?
hammer now.
Oh wait, he's going. He's standing still. No wait, he's on his way to you. He's on his way to you. He's walking.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Ah!
Did it get him?
He took damage, but he didn't die. He's still alive.
Is he not dead?
He wasn't close enough. Oh my!
How is he
Go!
not dead?
Did he get him?
What do you mean?
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Where's
He's
the hole?
he's
Where's the hole?
moving.
Where's the hole?
He's
Where's the
moving.
hole? Where's the goddamn hole?
I don't know where you are. I can't see. You went too far,
I'm
King.
dead.
You
I'm
went
dead
too
as
far.
fuck. It's over.
Oh no. Oh no.
Where's the hole? Other eye.
Hit it there when
Is he
you
over
jump
here?
down.
Where'd he go? How did it not die?
Dude, I'll show you the clip later. He was just he was on the like outer edges of the explosion. He was still where the fire was, but like the edges of where the fire is.
No, because bro was close. Like I swear.
I'll show
Like,
you my
he must have been
stream.
knocked back.
Maybe. I don't know.
Wait, I think I have another bed. Hold on.
Really?
Hold on. I do. All right, part 2. Here we go.
Okay.
Other eye.
Wait, I need blocks. And maybe a snack. I'm taking one of your... Okay,
Oh.
he's gone. Good, good, good.
Did he just go under?
I think so. Hey, Napa,
Yeah,
I'm
he
just
did.
gonna take some of your planks. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Actually, wait, I might have blocks in here.
Dude. Everything is on fire. You know, Swift Sneak would be really helpful right about now.
Dude, I had a Swift Sneak book and then I died whilst I was in this city and it's gone. Okay, King.
Dude, there is a massive explosion here.
Me when I fart.
Okay.
I've heard Chipotle does that to you, but I've never had Chipotle, so I wouldn't know.
Not
Are you in the right spot, Other Eye?
Not yet. Well, yep.
Okay.
I might be able to spawn him.
No, don't spawn him. I'm gonna spawn him.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready. Go, go, go.
Spawn, bitch. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Wait.
It's not nighttime. It's not nighttime.
It is nighttime. It's nighttime.
I reset my spawn point. What do you mean?
It's literally nighttime.
I literally clicked the bed.
I don't know what to tell you, King. It's nighttime.
Hold on, chat. I can handle this.
Where's the bed? Where's the bed?
No, I know where the bed is. I know where the bed is. I can do this.
Look at my screen. Look at my stream.
I can do
Wait,
this.
literally nighttime.
He's going to you.
Bro, oh god, he's like right there. On the bed?
Okay, he's just give it a bit more time.
Tell me when, tell me when, tell me
Okay.
when, tell me when.
Not yet. 2 more seconds. A little bit longer. Now.
It's not working! There's monsters nearby!
Oh, he's the
We're idiots. And my respawn is right here.
Oh,
That's crazy. That's
Are you
crazy.
spawn camped?
It's Jover.
Wait, King.
It's Jover. Good night.
Okay.
Wait, surely... Okay. No, this is winnable.
He's on me. He's sniffing me out. Nope, he's gone back.
Are you sure it's nighttime?
Maybe it's the plugin. Oh boy, just run.
'Cause it sure doesn't seem like nighttime to me.
Napa. Wait, Napa.
Rewards.
You might need to.
I already /registered it.
Weird. What the hell? It's definitely. Wait.
I'll be back.
Oh my god, he's still chasing me? Jesus.
Oh wait, Alt F3 Alt.
Oh, me when I spawn another one. What if I just die? I'm just gonna die again. Kill me. Good night. Okay, I'm gonna break the bed. Oh shit. Clearly it doesn't spawn another one. Fuck this.
Surely.
He's trapped, he's trapped, he's trapped, he's trapped!
He
He's
is?
trapped! He's trapped! He's trapped, he's trapped, he's trapped.
Oh my god!
I'm the best Minecraft player in the world.
You're so fucking good.
I am the best in the world.
Oh my
I'm him.
god, good job. How the hell? He's
Oh my god, dude. Look at him. What a fucking idiot.
Oh my god.
Bro wants me bad. He's looking at me.
He is
Justin, is it still nighttime? Hold on, let me wait, Justin's not screen sharing. Justin. did Justin go?
Jordan! Igorn.
I'm just trying to make it so bro doesn't despawn.
Good idea.
Where did Justin go?
Back chat.
Oh,
Justin,
thank God.
Is it nighttime still?
It's daytime.
Fuck.
Well, how are you guys going? What's good with you two?
I guess.
I'm making a drinky.
Why didn't it work?
I'm eating an apple. Maybe it's something wrong with the plugin. Maybe there's something I didn't code.
I blame Napa.
I don't understand because that bed worked well.
I think it was because I was like far. How? Hold on, let me look this up. How far away do mobs have
So
to
that's
be
just Cabbage Man.
to sleep? 10 blocks from a hostile mob.
Oh boy. Wait.
Oh
We
wait,
can count
16.
that.
Wait, I'm getting different answers.
16
One's
is
at
definitely
20.
too far because that's like a whole chunk. It's probably 10.
So yeah, I think it's 10.
1. Okay, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Wait, I need to make sure he doesn't
9,
despawn.
10.
Hello, sir.
Did you
Look at
trap
me.
him in wool?
He did!
Yeah,
Nap is so good
I'm
at this
better,
game.
Bro. I'm better. I'm him. Yeah, come on, sniff me. Oh god.
Oh, thanks. But you smell bad.
Shut up.
Sorry.
Bro is gonna despawn.
Just walk up to him. Do it. Don't be shy.
Well, it's not nighttime.
I'll give him a little kiss.
Oh. It is not.
Oh, it's Jover. Other eye's dead.
Knocking. I'm alright.
Oh, you are alright. What the fuck?
Bro's literally fucking around and finding out.
I am.
I can't believe I trapped him.
I can't believe you did either. Okay, where am I?
Oh boy.
Sorry, King. Bro's so mad right now.
Whoever coded
time of day
deep
is it?
snow. Daytime.
But what time is it? Like midday? Is it almost nighttime?
Oh, I'm looking. Oh, dude, it's like way midday.
Okay.
So like 5-10 more
Still got a
minutes.
lot of time. I'm trying to get a goat horn.
Bro's the goat.
I'm the goat. Trying to get the goat horn. Come on, Billy Goat. Come on. Hit me. They call me the
This
goat.
is so scary, dude. Let me count the blocks. So 1, 2, 3,
The hell was that?
4,
Oh, there's a bat.
6. Okay, this is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
These goats are not the goats.
Wait, is it that the player must be 10 blocks away, or is it the bed must be 10 blocks away?
Probably.
Sleep's not allowed within 10 blocks of a hostile mob.
I think it's you can't go to bed within 10 blocks of a hostile mob.
The heck?
1, 2, 3, 4,
Mud.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're like exactly 10 blocks away from him.
So right here should,
No,
Should
a
be
little
good.
bit. You can go a bit closer.
like right here.
One more. Yeah.
Okay. Dude, this is so scary. Okay, I'm gonna make some noise. I can't see. Hello, sir. Dude, I can't believe the explosion reached up so high. Like, if you look up there, there's like fire up on
Really?
the tower over there, or on the whatever.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, we gotta clip this and like send it all to like Lucas.
Bro, this is me in my video. Not all of it,
Oh,
but
sunset, sunset,
some,
sunset.
some highlights. Yay.
Okay.
We'll wait like a couple minutes.
What the hell? Bro's looking at me now. Okay,
Look at me, bro. Oh god.
there we go.
Gotta keep him stimulated, if you know what I mean.
What?
So you'd fuck a warden.
That's not what I said.
It does have a gaping hole in its chest.
Oh my
Why would you
god.
say
Why would
that?
you say
In the chest.
Hey, man.
Bro really found the way to a man's heart.
A gaping hole through his chest.
That is one way to a heart.
Okay, now for try now. Wait, okay.
No. We have to be really safe, bro. Is it like fully nighttime yet?
It's fully nighttime yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, alright, I'm gonna approach the spot and you're gonna tell me if it's the right spot.
Alright, keep walking forward. Okay. Stop there. And then let me just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. There.
Right here. Okay.
Pretty
I'm gonna
sure.
do it.
If it doesn't work, you can just take a step back and place the bed behind.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh. Bro,
How is bro
Bro,
still alive?
I took half
Bro's
hearts. I'm like half
unscathed.
damage. I took half health from that. He's... Okay, well, red beds clearly don't work on wardens. Let's go and get your things.
Jesus Christ. No, there's... Well, I didn't have anything, but there's... I still have 2 more beds.
Oh my god.
Hold on. I still have 2 beds.
Well, I'm glad it's not the plug and that was the problem.
Netherite, you need to go back to a safe spot.
King, I'm gonna stay in this hole.
Okay.
Good luck and have fun.
It's
Shit.
so much fire.
We didn't stop
Me when
fire.
I get sent to hell. Sorry.
Alright.
Me and El Nino.
I'm gonna try and do it right here. We ready?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
He's still alive.
How? Last one. If this doesn't work, I don't know what will. Oh, he's free. He's free. He's free.
Whoa, get fucked. Oh.
I'm
Oh.
so dead. I'm so dead. I'm so dead.
Fist fight him. Fist fight him.
Did he die? He's still not dead? Are you serious?
He's at the end of the hallway. He's at the end of the hallway. YOLO! Actually,
What are
wait.
you doing? No.
Come at me, you ugly
What are you
bitch. Come
doing?
at me, you
What are
ugly
you
fucking
doing?
bitch. Like, this way. Oh my god, there's lava everywhere.
You're so dead.
I'm actually not. Sorry.
You're so dead. It's so over for you. I don't hear him
Damn.
anymore. Oh.
Okay, TP me back, please.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm out of beds.
Oh man.
So
Well,
I guess it's time to go.
what an adventure.
I'm on the surface.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
wait, let me grab my stuff.
Oh wait, huge brain idea. I know a fast way back home.
For you to die.
Yeah, but getting burned is kind of boring. Rip to my 111 deaths. Where is he? Wow, I really fucking booked it.
I know. Oh, I hear the guy near me. I hear him.
Hello? Hello?
There we go.
You
I was
just-
looking at you.
he gave you a kiss first, and then he killed you.
Uh-oh. Wait, don't come in my room.
/TP. Hi,
Okay.
Justin.
Hi chat. I'm
Are
back in
you trying to
Discord.
get a goat horn?
Yeah. I'm successful.
What a day.
Do they just hit you and that's how you get it, or is
To time it into one of these.
it's what?
To time it and do one of those, like place a blocker underneath you.
Oh, okay. Couldn't you just stand like next to a wall and then
No,
just move
because
out
they
of the
won't do
way?
it if they won't do it if you're looking at them.
That's alright.
Yeah.
Alright. How are we gonna? Is there anything else you want to do?
Nah, I think
Holy shit!
I think we're pretty done with the with
Stop
everything.
ruining my plans.
Sorry.
Wow. And Mac died over
On
there.
this episode of Mythbusters.
Dude, what
Dude,
a
that was
warden's
fucking
even
wild.
fucking built out
What
of.
a stream!
Oh, question. Why was the warden added? It wasn't a mob vote. I don't know, man.
There's
Alright.
freaking spider jockey, dude.
I'll give you your things.
I don't have anything.
Let me TP you. Hold on.
Wow. What an adventure, guys. I did not expect this stream to go that way. Anyway.
Let me give you the remainder of your things. You can have these. I found that.
Yippee! I have a spoon. Alright.
I
Where's
think,
Justin?
I think that's it. Justin's still at the mountain because he wanted to get a goat horn.
Okay.
It's not working.
Well, thanks chat for watching that. That was
I say that was a successful test.
that was quite the test. Jeez.
Dude,
Task failed successfully.
and that, like,
Look at that fucking
Dude.
radius. And even then, like, that's
This-
just the blocks that, like, took damage. Like, Mac was all the way on the other side of the river.
yeah, Mac was literally on the other side of the river and died.
And I was, like, 3 blocks behind him and I still took damage.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Dude, I'm so fucking cool.
You are.
I'm gonna
Good
let
job.
myself have this. Like, I coded that. Like,
You did.
You did it.
I did do that. Anyway, we're starting from scratch again.
Oh boy.
Drink water
I
every time Ether
need
has to start from
to-
scratch.
I need to make a scavenger hunt for all the poor people on this server.
You poor
What
shaming
the
them.
fuck? So who? Me, Smothery, maybe Mac, Bulbacat,
Chip.
Chip. Oh wow, there's actually quite a few of us. I used to have it all,
Cookie is
dudes.
also 24.
I used to rule the world. Something,
The thing
something.
is that Etherai has one of the most amounts of playtime on this server and still is poor.
I had the most sexy armor in this world, and then I decided, and Smother was like, you know, I want an elytra, and this was when the Ender Dragon plugin was broken, so I was like, you know what, Smother, I'm gonna go to an NC and I'm gonna get you an elytra, and then I'm in the end, and I don't even know what happens. I'm dead, and all my things are somewhere on a mysterious island. Thousands of blocks out in the end cities, not despawned yet because the chunks aren't loaded, and I know it's there, but I just don't know where in the end.
Which is crazy, by the way.
Just crazy. I used to have the sexiest armor, dude. It's okay. I'll get all that armor back one day and lose it again, but hey, I'll have it. Anyway,
That's
This time you
awesome.
actually will quit the server.
dude.
No, because everyone, whenever they lose their shit, they're like, I'm quitting the server. They don't play for like 2 days and then they get back online and get all their shit back.
Anyway, thanks for watching this experiment, chat. It's been real. It's been fun. I had so much fun. Thanks for
GG.
doing that with me, guys. I enjoyed that.
You're welcome.
I also had fun despite dying how many times? 8 times.
Yeah. Well, I'll see you another day, chat. It's been fun. Bye.
Bye, chat.